Why aren't you listening to me? Doesn't anybody ever listen to me? Listen to me? Listen to me? Listen to me? Blame yourselves for this fucking word salad that I just spit all over the goddamn plate. This is all your fault. You and I like to. That's it. I work under the cover of darkness because I don't need the rest of society to look in my eyes and know that is a bad person. Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. Why? Why is it funny to you that I talk when you point? You point every week, I talk every week, and then yet you still laugh. You find it humorous and entertaining. I don't know why. Because I'm sitting there doing nothing, and then I become this animated idiot.
Are you ready yet?
Well, sure. It was great. We should do that on the air. We should go back and put that on the air. Are you ready? Yeah?
Ready?
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah. On the point. See? Folks, this is some of the magic you're missing in the kitchen when you're not here. Which I've actually thought we were actually installing bleachers. So if you wanted to come in and watch the show get recorded, how awful would that be? Holy God. A bunch of people are sitting in bleachers in your house. We actually already have bleachers here. That's fine. But nobody ever comes. Too bad. But maybe we could have people come here. No, you don't want people to come in and check out the show? Should I do it live somewhere? That's what I'll do. I'll do it live. A live podcast. No one wants to see that. How awful would that be? Hey, who wants to see a guy talk in circles for no reason? I do. Hands up. All right. Lily just brought me to my Facebook fan page, and I saw that someone put a hat on me. I did not notice that picture before. What's funny is I get notified via email when people do stuff on my page, and I see that, but I don't get notified about anything on the Jokers page. So I've gotten to the point now where I just kind of put the Jokers as a link, and I'd like people to join, and I'll see the number on the side, but I haven't been in a while. Because you know why? Because nobody wants me schlepping. Who wants to schlep around their own fan club? That's fucking horrific. That's like if you got fired from a job and you keep coming back for the next week and saying hi to your friends. Hey, what's going on? Dude, you got fucking whacked for stealing chicken breasts. You need to walk. I don't care, man. I'm here to see my buddies. We're not your buddies. We worked with you and now it's over. No one wants to be associated with a felon. Take a fucking walk. Terrible. It was like there was a guy who got whacked from Little Caesars when I worked at Little Caesars, and he just kept coming over and hanging out. Because he really had nothing else to do with his day or his time. And the people he knew, his friends and his crowd, his crew, all worked at Little Caesars. So he had nothing to do. It was like when that guy got kicked out of the Little Rascals and he had to go off and, he didn't want to go to school. And then he let the donkey in and he let the donkey run around, and Miss fucking Crabtree was like, dude, you got to take off until you learn this poem. And he had to go around and he was, learn that poem. I think I've talked about that on here before. Stuff stays in your head, folks, when you're a kid. But yeah, so he couldn't. There was nobody. He had to play hooky by himself. He got suspended, and he's out by himself wandering the fucking earth. And then he had a clubhouse, and I'll never forget it because he had this clubhouse of it was supposedly him and his friends had like a club, which I guess was like a moose lodge for children, which coincidentally Lily's actually a member of that, a moose lodge for children, at least according to the correspondence I hear. So he went to conduct like a meeting of his club, and he had his little helmet on with his Viking hat, and it had an eye. It was like the Royal Order of the Eye, and there was a weird eye drawn on the hat. I can still see it. I mean, it was fucking vivid. Even as a child, I was frightened of that hat. I was like, who would want to be in that club? Even if people weren't in school, they wouldn't come to your goddamn club because you're wearing the fucking Royal Order of the Eye helmet with a Viking horn and a crazy eye, like a hypnotic weird eye. Awful. So then he had to walk around, and he was lonely, and then he had to go back to school, and he asked Miss Crabtree, he said, I'll be good if you let me come back and hang out with my friends. And she said, well, we gotta read that poem that I told you about. And he's like, oh, don't let me do it, they'll laugh at me. And she's like, oh, that's your penance, what you gotta do. So he did. He had to say this poem, and it was weird. I don't know why she made him remember this poem. Obviously, it was a punishment poem, but it was a poem that made him sound like an infant. Like he had to, and then he didn't do himself any favors, all right? Because he actually read it like an infant. Like he said, scraped my widow chin. Like because he was so sad, he was like crying in the middle of reading the poem, and the whole crew, everybody's laughing at him. Ah, ha, 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 stupid. Because that's what you do when you're in school and someone comes in and has to humiliate themselves in front of you. You make it worse by pouring salt all over his slug-like wounds. But he's just going on and on. He's like reading this poem, and it was so sad. And she felt bad for him, but still, he had to do it. It was part of his punishment. I mean, the kid let a donkey into school, for Christ's sake. Go ahead, you got to go learn that. So that's So I don't know what that meant. Why did I even get into that? Because I talked about Little Caesars and guys hanging out
Yes.
and talking about being fired and going back to your gig. But how did it relate to me and you?
Hanging out with people that don't want you to hang out with the fan page.
I don't. Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, you can't go run your own fan club because you look like this idiot who's like, hey, who here likes me? Looks like 500 of you. All right. And I just like swim in the fucking fact that I got 500 people who are willing to click yes. You know what I mean? Like, well, why should I even take that to heart? These people, it could have been an accident. These people went to click no and accidentally hit yes, and Facebook, with their draconian laws, doesn't allow you to back out of it. You're like, no, you like it. Fuck you. You like it. You're not getting out of it. You clicked yes. That says all we need to know. By the way, would you like to travel to the Caribbean for 3 days and 4 nights? I need more ads directed at me for vacations. Thanks, Facebook. Don't you read my wall? Don't you know anything about me? You're supposed to know everything about me, for Christ's sake. The one thing you do not know about me is that I'm broke. I can't go to the fucking Caribbean. And isn't the Caribbean like just lawless? I mean, isn't it just like guys in the street with guns murdering you? Who the fuck wants to go to the Caribbean? That's far too many B's for a vacation destination. I only go to places that have one B. That's right. All right. Alabama. Perfect. I'm in. Although, but would I go to a city that had? Ooh, is there a city with 2 B's in Alabama? I don't even know if there is.
I couldn't even name it.
Abilamba? Abilamba's out. I'll be honest with you. Abilamba's out. Alabama, I'm in, but Abilamba, no. And Bambalam. Oh, I'm certainly not taking a vacation with Black Betty. Bambalam. Oh, Black Betty. Bambalam. We're not going on vacation. Bambalam. I'm taking a staycation. Bambalam. That's a song from a million years ago, folks. When I was a child, I caught a fleeting glimpse out of the corner of my eye. I turned to look, but it was gone. All right, so that's a lot of lyrics of songs. Why? That's where my head goes, folks. I was actually typing one time in the liner notes, I think, of year 1 or 2. Folks, if you've purchased year 1 or 2, go right now. Refer to your liner notes. I'll wait. But I actually wrote something about straining the limits of da-da-da, and I go, you have no idea how badly I wanted to write Machine and Man, like from Red Barchetta with Rush. And I'm sure people read that and immediately slammed shut their liner notes. Because they have them in book form. People have printed them out. A lot of people have printed them out and made a scrapbook of the liner notes. They've gone ahead and put them together, and they sit down with their children. I will, when I have my future China baby, I will sit down with him, and that's right, Karen and I are going to adopt a future China baby. Or a China baby in the future. I don't want to adopt a future China baby. Holy shit. Some cyborg with pin straight black hair? No thanks. Oh, man, some guy who's like, he's got lungs that are smog proof and he can cook me sweet and sour chicken 4 ways. Fantastic. I'm in, future China baby. That's what I want. I want a future China baby to take care of me in my old age because then he can make me cookies with notes in them. Why? How racist and horrible is that? That's all I would want from a future China baby? They own the world. They're on the cutting edge of technology and I want them to make soup with egg whites in it? No, fuck that. Build me an iPod. Toot sweet. All right. That's what I want. Now I want them to, I'm gonna have a ton of future China babies, and you know what we'll do? We'll sit them up here in the bleachers, and they'll make iPods while we do the show. That's very meta. I'm doing a show for your iPod while iPods are being built in the very location where I do the show from. Yeah, maybe I do that. Maybe I fly to China and I go ahead and I set up a podcasting superstar, like super industry. Like I have a factory of all like little China babies. What would they do? Would they podcast? That doesn't make any sense. This went wrong. This broke bad. Yeah, exactly. Thumbs down. I'm with you. I was going to pick up Chinese food tonight. I might. I don't know. Now with all this future China baby talk, I think I'm in. I'm definitely in. You know what I'm not getting tonight, folks? Look, all right, let me tell you something. New York. Yes, I address all of you. New York, enough with your fucking hot dogs. All right? We live in Los Angeles. We're fine. We don't need the invasion of the New York hot dogs. You're not doing us a favor by bringing your famous hot dogs here. I'm sure there's some locals who are from New York. And because, folks, Papaya King has arrived on our shores. Papaya King is, I guess, a famous New York hot dog, as I found out. And I knew they were because I've seen them on the Food Network. Anthony Bourdain has gone there and all that. It's a very New York type of place. Fine. So they were coming here, which they've announced with more billboards than the Rapture guy bought to tell us the world was ending. But with actually much more import, quite frankly, because Papaya King actually did show up. They've launched their, and I went there last week with young Lily Von Stupp, and we went, and it's open till 3 a.m., first of all. Look, it's a hot dog. Fucking back off. I don't understand why you need 400 billboards to tell me that a hot dog's coming to town. It makes no sense. And Lily and I went last week, and then I went last night with Karen, and just, all right, look. I should tell you this. I liked my hot dog. I didn't care. All right. But Karen hated it. So now my entire fucking view of the Papaya King has been tainted. Not only that, but the fact that when we went to even with last week, Lily and I went, and they're still teaching the guys there how to be Papaya Kings. All right. They're still street waifs who are being turned into efficient Papaya King employees. So you order a hot dog, and they get this quizzical look on their face, like, dude, you sell hot dogs. What the fuck? Honestly, you're surprised? What did you think I was going to order? And they sell knishes, too. I found out last night. They had a bunch of knishes on the grill. And it was so fun, because I don't know what the fuck that is. I mean, I've seen the name of it a million times, but they had a bunch of squares on the grill. And that's what I said. I go, what's that square? And the guy's like, what? I go, what's that square on the grill? And he's like, it's a knish. And like he was like, I was an idiot. I'm like, oh, I guess I should know what that dough square was in the middle of the fucking grill. Guy who doesn't know how to fucking use the register yet. Switch places with me. I would not mock you. All right, I guess I would, probably. No, I wouldn't for a knish. The fuck? I don't look like a Jewish guy. Jewish guys know knishes on sight. Like, I bet a Jewish guy could pull a knish from 35 yards. Like, he's walking, he sees it, he's like, haha, dough square. He gets the fucking Steve Austin eye, and he's like, boom, that's a knish. And he runs up and tackles you, and he eats it like a wolf. Because that's what Jewish people do. They go ahead and tackle you for your knishes. What the hell? The Chinese and the Jewish people, this is bad. This has turned bad. This is broken bad. Well, it's about to get worse, I'll tell you that. Because last night, look, Papaya King, I understand you're a hot dog stand, and I understand why this is the case. Look, it's all minorities working there, which is fine, because that's who needs jobs, and that's who excels at making hot dogs, I suppose. I have no idea. But no, it's not who excels at making hot dogs, because last night, the guy working the register, really friendly. He was nice, could not be cooler. Karen ordered her food, I ordered my food, and the grill man, I let's put it this way, I've already eaten my hot dogs, but I think he's still putting them in a box. Right now, that's how fucking slow this guy was. And the thing is, I didn't want to say anything about how slow he was. I was saying, all right, look, I did want to say it because I was saying it to Karen, like under my breath, like, can you fucking believe how slow this guy is making hot dogs? I can't understand. How tough is it to put onions on a motherfucking hot dog? But the reason I didn't is because this guy, he had like 3 earrings in each ear, and he had tattoos like all the way up to his ears. Like you could see coming out of his shirt. His entire neck was inked all the way up, like his jawline was practically inked. He had stopped at the face because he said, whoa, hold on. If I get my face tattooed, I will not be able to fuck up hot dogs for a living. I need to stand down. Because I'm talking arms. You could see it. He had sleeves on. They made him wear sleeves, but he had fucking, you could see his wrists peeked out. He was like those guys in the movies, like the Illustrated Man or whatever the fuck. And in my head, I was gonna like make fun of him for making my hot dog badly to the other guys. Like, honestly, how long? But instead, I just did it to Karen because I'm like, this guy looked like a guy from the 18th Street Gang. Trying to go legit. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, fuck. The last thing I need is a bunch of El Salvadorans climbing up my fucking ass because I got pissed off at this guy putting onions on my goddamn hot dog. Because let's face it, that's a white guy problem. He's got, hey, you're putting onions on my hot dog too slowly. Oh, really? My homeland is being ravaged by murder. If I wasn't here, I'd be decapitating hobos. Slow your roll and wait for your fucking hot dog. Which I did. I slowed my roll, absolutely. Because, folks, my roll cannot be slowed usually, but I had to do it manually yesterday because I did not want to get jumped by the slow grill man. Because I'll tell you what, slow grill man, I'll bet quick to murder. I think maybe he goes slowly putting the hot dogs in because he's savoring the feeling of the flesh underneath his fingertips, like in his day job. Oh, Christ. But what I can't bitch. They gave us free curly fries. Yeah, because we ordered a combo with a one, and then I go, guys, I need some fries. And they're like, what do you mean? I go, I ordered the one. And they go, no, one doesn't come with fries. It's just 2 hot dogs and a drink. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I go, Karen, you want me to get you some fries? She goes, no, we're fine. And they go, here. And they just gave us free curly fries. So why am I mad at Papaya King? Actually, because I'm not. That said, I'm not. I didn't mind it. I'm clouded by Karen's judgment because Karen fucking hated it. Oh, my God, did she hate it. She wanted to burn it down. That seems strong. She probably just didn't like it. But she ordered a drink. All right, I will tell you this. Papaya King doesn't sell soda. They sell drinks that are fruit-based, and they are horrible. Last week I went with Lily, and she got a papaya drink, because it's like, you're there. You got to get a papaya drink. So we're like, well, let's split a papaya drink. And Lily got that because she wanted a papaya drink, and I got it just because I wanted to drink out of Lily's straw. So,
But you didn't.
no, I didn't. I took it out. So, no, it just seems weird. No, because I don't want you to have.
Is that what it is?
No. You don't know where mine's been. That's the point. And we're both mowing through fucking Papaya King dogs. Who the fuck wants that? And didn't you have like mustard on yours? I don't want any stray lily mustard in my mouth.
No mustard.
Oh yeah, cool. Ketchup doesn't go on a dog either.
I hate mustard.
What? Mustard's better than ketchup on a dog.
You're wrong.
What the hell? That seems strong. So Karen got a drink last night. So the papaya drink was awful. It just tasted like it you know what? It was just bitter. To me, at least, you liked it because it wasn't excessively sweet or whatever. You thought it was good, but I didn't care for it. So then last night, Karen got a drink called Strawberry Fields, and I said, "Well, I'll have a sip of her drink, whatever." And and also she got, she made the mistake of ordering. She got the New York. There's this thing called on the dog. They got a classic dog, and it comes with sauerkraut, New York City onions, and relish. And I didn't know what the fuck. The guy goes, "You want New York City onions on those?" And I go, "Yeah, I guess so," because I thought they were just onions, because they have grilled onions and raw onions. And I thought one of those was New York City onions. No, New York City onions are like in a sauce, like a based sauce. It was like literally if you took onions and you chopped them up and then you simmered them down in asparagus piss. That's what it tasted like. It was so fucking horrible. Because Karen got to put it in her hot dog, and I took like a chunk of it, and I was like, it's this weird vinegary pickled onion flavor. Oh, it was grim. I just hated it. And I told Karen, I go, maybe if you just got like a plain dog, you would like it, and she's like, no. And she was adamant, furious. Threw her leftovers on me. Actually, threw it right at me. Nah, she didn't do that either. But it's funny. It's like, how can you fuck up a hot dog? I thought it was good. I enjoyed it, but she didn't. I guess we won't be back. Who cares? No one cares. But this is like, the thing is, I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. Once I hear some place that was famous somewhere else is here, I go there right away. Like, and all the New York shit is invading us. Like, there's Two Boots Pizza here, which I actually like. I don't mind. But the thing is, all right, I have rules. You have to eat Two Boots Pizza in the pizzeria. You can't take it home because it doesn't travel well. It's like a thin crust pizza with toppings. Well, it gets soggy as fuck by the time you get it home. Write that down. I'll wait. And like Magnolia Bakery is here, which is from New York, and we went there, and it's just Sprinkles kicks the fuck out of it. I mean, seriously, Sprinkles leaves Magnolia Bakery headless in the gutter. It's terrible. Why? Wait, why does it have to be such a violent fight? They're competing cupcake concerns. I don't think consortiums. I don't know what they are, but they're cupcake stores, but Sprinkles is much better. I don't know, but why does it have to be better? Who cares? If you like Magnolia, eat it. Why am I judging people? I shouldn't be judging people. If you like it, you like it. Papaya King, but it's like I'm a guy. You know what the best hot dog in this city is? Unbelievably, you're gonna laugh. It's in a movie theater at the ArcLight. It's a Hebrew National hot dog, and they steam it in the bun, and they keep it wrapped in foil in the steam drawer until you order it, and then the bun and the hot dog become one. Oh, awesome! So I don't need to go to Papaya King, but I will eventually. Again, not with my wife. She hated it. Oh, and then we're leaving, and we finished our food, and there's a homeless dude like lying in front of that post office, and I go, "Do you want any more of your drink?" She goes, "No." Should we give it to him? Yes, that's what we should do. We should give him a half-drunk Strawberry Fields from down the street, because that wouldn't be too insulting. Here, dude, have this. And I you know what? Actually, we did give it to him, and he took our straw out. Can't be bothered. By the way, Strawberry Fields, again, like I said, the drink's terrible. I sipped her Strawberry Fields, and this is not a lie. It tasted like Smucker's jelly over ice. It was that sweet, like that crazy. It tasted like breakfast jelly, like you get at the table. Like you have those little packets. Oh, dude, it was fucking horrible. And I looked at her and I go, that's horrible. That tastes like just sugar and a strawberry in a cup. She goes, well, it tastes like strawberry soda. And I go, no. I go, because the carbonation would cut strawberry soda. Fuck, who cares? Who cares? There's a lot of talk about hot dogs and pizzas and bullshit. What a fat fuck. Shut the fuck up about food. Oh, my Christ. Don't talk about hot dogs. Now, Anthony Weiner. How's that for a transition, folks? Lily and I were staring at his because, all right, the Candid shot finally came out today. You know, the Candid shot that Andrew Breitbart said he wasn't going to release because he didn't want to fuck with Weiner's family anymore. Because he said the only reason he was bringing this to anybody's attention because he wanted Weiner to go ahead and stop his reckless ways and save his family. And that the only reason he was going ahead and doing anything about this and saying that he had these candid photos is because he wanted to make sure that Weiner and his wife went ahead and got along for the rest of their lives. Yeah. Well, then Andrew Breitbart went on Opie and Anthony today and decided to show them the cock picture that he keeps on his phone. I know. Really? You weren't going to release it, but you keep his cock picture on your phone. Let's say, look, you can pretend that you're breaking stories all you want. You got another guy's cock on your phone. I don't give a fuck if you got your Scoop Brady press pass in your hat and a magnifying glass looking for clues. You're carrying around the picture of another man's cock on your phone. Says a lot more about you than it does about Andrew Weiner, quite frankly. Because Andrew Weiner sent it to a lady. And you decided to leap up and grab it like it was a foul ball in a fucking ballpark. And steal it from the lady behind you who was going to catch it. That's like if he blew a kiss to somebody and you actually reached out, grabbed it, and put it on your own fucking cheek. Delete the picture of Weiner's cock. We get the fucking point. Unless you want to gaze longingly at it and pretend that you're doing some sort of research on cocks. Is there a difference? Like maybe you're like, oh, I got to study it because I got to know what a Democratic cock looks like if I ever run into one in the gym. Yeah. Funniest part about that sentence, Andrew Breitbart at the gym. And look, I'm not defending Andrew Weiner. It's just that, look, everybody has sent pictures of their cock on the phone. You can pretend that you didn't. I got news for you. Even Andrew Breitbart has sent pictures of his own cock on the phone. But unfortunately, he sends them to his other cell phone. I picture he's just got a folder of cocks. Like, you know, and he just brings them out periodically. And he actually, they're like flashcards. He can test himself. He scrolls through them. He's like, Weiner, Lieberman, me. I don't know how he got a picture of Lieberman's cock. I certainly don't want to start that rumor. Although, how'd you know it was a picture of Lieberman's cock? Honestly, you could just see a Shar-Pei and go, yeah, that's Lieberman's cock. Come on, that guy's got to be fucking Skinfold Central. All right. But I just, and then the thing that drives me crazy about it is, but people want him to quit. They want Anthony Weiner to quit his, why do I keep calling him Weiner? Fuck, literally, I'm not lying to you folks. We've had to retake this 5 times because I keep saying Weiner instead of Weiner. Because I you know why? Because logic dictates that his name would not be Weiner. It can't be, really. There's no way a guy named Weiner gets caught in a Weiner scandal sending his Weiner around, right? That just not, it doesn't work. That's phony. If your name is Anthony Weiner, and look, I'm not breaking any new ground. Everybody's made jokes about this on Twitter for fucking weeks, days, hours. I don't know. What the fuck? But if your name's Weiner, don't fucking get in a cock scandal. Don't, because they're just going to go crazy about it. That's the worst part. Anthony Weiner comes out and he has his press conference the other day. First of all, he fucking stiff-armed it and he's like, that's not me. It was a hack. Someone else sent that photo. Who the fuck would hack your Twitter and send a fucking picture of their clothed cock and then try to pretend that it was you? No, but that's the most elaborate ruse of all time. You know what? They would rather just wait for you to fuck up, because that's going to happen eventually. Everybody's going to fuck up eventually. Insane. And then he comes out with the press conference the other day and he's like in tears and he's sad and he's sipping water and he's and he goes ahead and he's like, look, I got to admit that it was me and 6 women and that picture is me and I did send it. I sent it as a joke to somebody. No, you've just lost all credibility. You sent it as a joke. Admit that you fucking sent it because you're flirting with chicks online and you've got a modicum of power and you're famous and girls want to fuck you, so you want to try to exploit that. You know what? All you are is a bad husband. You're not a bad congressman at this point. You're a bad fucking liar. That's for sure. Bad liar and bad husband does not mean you got to quit your fucking job. It does, however, mean nobody has to fucking vote for you next time you come up for re-election. I wouldn't vote for that motherfucker. I'm not saying that what he did was right. I'm saying that I understand it because you know what? We're in that era now where that kind of technology allows you to do those sorts of things, and men are going to do it. Men are just going to fucking do it. I've done it. I've sent photos of my cock to my wife, thank God. And like I said, all the guys at Sprint who saw it fly by their eyes because there's some guy monitoring all that. That's what I don't understand is Weiner's our age, right? He's maybe even younger. Don't you understand yet that the internet is forever? Don't you understand that that's how the internet works? Even texting on your phone, someone's going to see that. The person you're sending it to, fine, but there's a middleman. It's not like your phone is connected to their fucking phone. It's all in the airwaves, and someone can fucking find it and take it eventually. Learn a lesson from Anonymous. All the guys at 4chan who are hacking into Sony and getting millions of fucking names and passwords and just laughing about it. You're eventually going to get found out. I guarantee it. It's when Karen and I broke up. It's funny. I think I told this story on here before. When Karen and I broke up, when she kicked me out and I moved out and whatever the fuck, we had a split and I had to move in with somebody else. This is like 6 years ago. Well, we still decided to get together and fuck periodically. I would go over to the house and that was what we would do, and then I'd leave. Well, I took photos of Karen, like, fun photos with my cell phone, and they were on, I had them on Sprint, and I forget, I made it my screensaver or something. I don't know. I did something with it. It wasn't just on my phone. Like I sent it to myself, or I emailed it to myself. And 2 years later, I was still with Sprint, and I had a problem. And I went on the Sprint website. Like I didn't even know. I never used, because I have a Mac address, email address that they give you automatically when you sign up for you buy a product and you sign up and you register. I've never used it. I could have a fucking billion emails in my blank at mac.com, and I've never checked them. I got no fucking idea. Well, I had a Sprint email too, because I had a cell phone account with them, and they gave me like an email account, and I fucking went in there to find some tech support for something for a problem, and it said view my account. I went to my account, and it had pictures, and I went in, and the pictures of my wife were on the Sprint website. They were on my little section of the Sprint website, and they weren't filthy, all right. But it was my wife in leggings, you know what I mean, like just like see-through leggings or whatever, and her legs looked fucking amazing. She looked great, and then it was just a picture of her face. It wasn't anything dirty. My wife, believe me, any sort of pictures or filming of my wife has been deleted immediately, because she says that she's like, you're not taking that out of the house. I mean, you're making sure that's off the phone. And so I immediately I press like 4 fake buttons, and then I leave, and then I watch it at my work. Because I actually had a tape of us once, like a thing on my phone, and I uploaded it to my MacBook, and I had it, and I was in the shit fucking Graveyardville one night, and I looked through, and I was like, oh my god, I have that. And then I watched it, and it was like, god, that's fucking awesome. And I go, you got to erase that. You can't. If she doesn't know that you have it, because we have that. I told the story about the sex tape before. Where like, whatever, who cares? By year 2, but I immediately erased it. I made myself. I of course watched it. I finished watching it, and then I erased it. But understand that whatever you do, whatever you put online, if you email it to somebody on your phone, you text something to somebody on your phone, it's going to get found. It's going to get seen. And even worse, like these pictures of Wiener. There's a photo of him at his desk. Did you see that one where he's got his shirt off? Behind him is a picture of him with Bill Clinton. And a picture of him with his wife from their wedding. They're on the desk behind him as he uses a desk cam to show his fucking cock to people. I mean, that alone should show you that men are not in control of themselves. We don't fucking think. I've done it. I've been revving before, where you've been on 4chan or you whatever, then you wind up at XTube, and you're at XTube, and you're at RedTube, and you're looking around, and then you're at Free Ones, and you're looking at this chick, and you're like, oh my god, and you Google that, and all of a sudden, you're 4 hours down the fucking rabbit hole, and you got 3 windows open of people getting fucked in the rabbit hole. And you're like, shit, I got to go to bed. This is fucking crazy. It happened to me when Karen went out of town. Karen went out of town. She left on a Saturday. I took her to the airport on Saturday morning, and then I was going to come home and go to bed because I had to be at work that night. And I got caught up on the internet. I'm looking at stuff, and I'm looking here. And like I said, I'm at 4chan. You wind up going here. You're at XTube. You go all over the place. You're looking. And next thing I know, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then the Phillies are starting, so I can't go to bed. I have to go ahead and watch the Phillies on my phone. And I'm watching the Phillies, and I never went to bed. I stayed up for like 27 straight hours. Because I got caught up in a fucking porn loop. I was in the set of porn tubes. I was getting going around and around in the infinity symbol, just watching cocks and going, I gotta get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? You got 4 screens open of fucking lesbians going down on one another, and you're like, I gotta fucking stop. And I guarantee you, all 8 of these lesbians in these 4 screens are at home going, I'm sure nobody will find those films or pictures of us, right? Bullshit. It's on the internet. So when Wiener, Jesus fuck, when Wiener comes out and he took that press conference, he said it was a joke, and you're like, dude, no, just literally his press conference should have been, he should have walked up to the podium and just said, hey, I'm a man, I won't be taking any questions, and walk the fuck off.
You're listening to The 40-Year-Old Boy. Coming up later, B.B. King falls down some stairs. You got one?
Yeah. Is anybody here like me, dead inside?
Oh, dude.
Is anybody else in here like self-esteem?
That was a break, folks. How'd you enjoy it? I'll bet you loved it. Here's a little behind the curtain for you. We took that break, and then we've just spent 45 minutes talking. And now I'm back to try to pick up where I left off, even though I have no fucking idea where I left off. Why do I insist on telling you everything that's going to happen? And the thing is, I wouldn't have to do that if you'd all just come here and pack these bleachers and check out this fucking show. I'm tired of doing a show to an empty fucking room, folks. Although Empty Room is a great song by Gary Moore. Oh, boy, Empty Rooms. Great song. Folks, I hope you're all listening to me right now with your tweakedaudio.com/40 earbuds, because that's what I'm wearing. I'm wearing them right now. And by the way, if it happened, I was if you have tweakedaudio.com/40 earbuds and you see me, come up to me. I'll autograph them for you. I will have to do it with the tiniest pen imaginable, and you will never be able to see the autograph, but still, you'll know that's jammed into your head, right? That'll be awesome. And you know what I'll do? I'll do it with like wet ink, and then immediately put the tweakedaudio.com/40 earbuds into your ears, and then it will transfer the autograph to the inside of your ear. Oh, and I will be with you always. How fantastic. Not only will my sound be inside your ears, but my signature will be in there. You'll be branded. It'll be like, you know what, like the 18th Street guys? Like they got all the ink and they got the 18s on their face. You'll have like a little Michael Glenn Schmidt right there in the side of your ear. Oh, you'll be in the 18th Schmidt gang. That's what we'll call it.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
I have to interrupt.
All right.
I have to.
You do?
You autograph your stuff, Michael Glenn Schmidt?
I do.
Really?
Yeah, always.
You don't sign shit, Schmitty?
No, that's ridiculous. How do you know who did that?
Schmitty!
No, that's unprofessional and silly. I use my real name, my full name.
Oh, I had no idea.
I use the name. You know why? Because I've practiced that fucking autograph since I was 9. Of course I'm going to use it. I get countless notebooks. I imagine everybody else was like, drawing Norse gods and people battling and fighting on their high school notebooks. Literally, you would just see pages of my signature, pages and pages on my Trapper Keeper. Michael Glenn Schmidt, Michael Glenn Schmidt, Mr. Michael Glenn Schmidt, Mrs. Michael Glenn Schmidt. No, I never did that, but I did. I would sign my name over and over. Lily actually writes Mrs. Michael Glenn Schmidt right now over and over on the legal pad. Mrs. Michael Glenn Schmidt. And then we could talk for 45 minutes at a clip. All right. So yeah, I will sign your tweakedaudio.com 40 earbuds. Approach me. Why do you make a squish face? You don't what that I will sign them, or my signature is weird. That's not weird at all. Michael Glenn Schmidt. It's my SAG name. No, he should not. People, that's not who I am. See, all right, let's get into that dilemma for just a second, because I bought MikeSchmidtComedy.com, and then people were like, you should buy the 40yearoldboy.com, and I think I did. I had it for a while, and then I think I let it lapse, because I'm like, who the fuck is going to encroach on the 40yearoldboy.com? Like, who is someone going to squat on that? They're going to cyber squat on that? No, they're not. Nobody would. Why would they? Who the fuck wants to be associated with this? I just talked about cocks again for 25 minutes. You want to buy cocksandrape.com, that's just as good as buying the 40yearoldboy.com, quite frankly. Because that's all I wind up fucking talking about. Cox and Rape and NocturnalAnimals.com. That's what this show should be called. But yeah, I signed my full name because I remember when I bought the Facebook page, I was like facebook.com/the40yearoldboy. I was going to make it facebook.com/Mike Schmidt, and we had a debate. We were like, well, which one should it be? And we went with the 40-year-old boy, and twitter.com/the40-year-old boy, because every other comedian that I know uses their fucking name because that's their name. I decided to use the name of my show, and it haunts me to this very day, quite frankly, because I wanted to use, because I'm like, well, I want to use my name. But the thing is, everybody thinks Mike Schmidt's the fucking baseball player, so that grew into a problem. So I guess I could have been twitter.com/Michael Glenn Schmidt. I could have done that. And then you wouldn't be so upset. You'd be like, oh yeah, it fits your Twitter name. Look, I go 3 names. All right. Yeah. And if I do wind up fucking going off and killing everybody, they can go, we knew why. There you go. So yeah, bring your tweakedaudio.com/40 earbuds and I will sign them. I will sign anything you have, folks. I will sign a grain of rice with a small calligraphic tool. I'll whip it out. Let's see it. Come on.
Will you sign boobs?
Oh yeah. Pull them out.
Do you sign boobs?
If anybody wants me to, I'll sign anything. I don't give a fuck. No, nobody's. Are you kidding me? No, because I'm not a sexual creature to my fans. Like, it's totally different. Like, there's nobody who sees me in that capacity. Like, everybody's just like, I'm just a buffoon. I spend 2 hours on stage telling them what a fuck up I am, and nobody's gonna come up and go, I gotta fuck that guy. Please sign my labia. That's never gonna fucking happen. Yeah, no, that does not happen, unfortunately. Although I would. Hey, if somebody wants to do that, just go ahead, sit down, and pull out a bat wing and let it go, and I'll fucking right there sign right on it. Yeah, so I don't give a fuck. I'll sign whatever the fuck you want me to sign, but nobody sees me as a sexual creature because I'm that would be too creepy and weird. Like if they were to approach me and they'd be like, it's always funny because after the show I'm a sweaty mess, and I'm always shocked when people want to take pictures with me at the end of the show. I'm like, look, I am sweaty. You don't want to get near me, and they're like, no, I don't care. And the thing that always makes me laugh is when a woman will take a photo with me, and I go, look, I am so sweaty. You don't want to do this, and they'll be like, oh, come on, he gets like that, and they'll point at their husband, and I want to go, if you ever sweat this much, I don't want to know what the fuck you're doing, pal. I mean, this is like 10 hours of yard work sweating because I just sat up there and fucking, tore my soul out for 2 hours. And that's, that's hard work. Folks, that's heavy lifting. Pulling this fucking life I got out and trying to throw it at you, that is serious heavy lifting. So that happened this past weekend. Folks, I made the scene in Austin, Texas. That's where I was at this past weekend. And who was there? Michael Glenn Schmidt. He wasn't just the 40-year-old boy. Although people have said, oh, that's the 40-year-old boy. I guess they would say that, right? They would be like, oh, yeah, it's the 40-year-old boy instead of that's Mike Schmidt. Although nobody did that at the show. Excuse me, 40-year-old boy, can I take a photo with you? You know who does call me that? My friends. Like when I go to poker or when, people refer to me, like Pat Francis will call me it on his, like they'll talk about me. They'll be like, oh yeah, I was with the 40-year-old boy for lunch. Like they'll say it like that, which is, I guess, and it's so funny. I'll be like, yeah, don't use my name. Go ahead and call me the 40-year-old boy, you dicks. But they're not busting my balls. That's the thing, is they mean it. They're doing, if anything, they're doing promotion for my fucking show. But stupid me, I'm just like, hey, I'm Mike Schmidt. Why are you calling me Mike Schmidt? I just have this, like I said, I have an identity crisis with an identity crisis. I just, because I have a problem. You know what? I have a problem with the way I hear things. I just have the biggest persecution complex on the fucking planet. That's what it is. Is I hear things and I read things wrong. I do. And then I was talking to Mex about a note I got from Idaho Kirk, a while ago. And I told him what he said, and he goes, that doesn't sound all bad to me at all. And I said, yeah, but you don't understand. He was saying it this way. And he goes, no, that's how you read it. You read it that way. You didn't I'm sure he didn't mean it like that when he typed it. But I come in with these weird preconceived notions that everybody's busting my balls and out to fucking get me. They're out to get me, as Axl Rose would say. They won't catch me. I'm fucking innocent, so you can suck me. But that's how I look at it, man. Is I everything to the point where, you know what, this actually ties in, because a guy, fan of the show, friend, lovely man, I'm sure, wrote on my Facebook wall, hey, how was the show in Austin? Are you going to wax rhapsodic about it on this week's episode? And I'm sure he meant, hey, how was Austin? Are you going to wax rhapsodic about it on this week's episode because it went so well? But what I read it as was, hey, how was Austin? Oh, fuck, are you going to waste our time by talking about it again all the episode long this fucking week? And I know that's not what he meant. I'm sure he wasn't busting my balls. He didn't mean it. But in my head, I went, well, wait, do I talk about the shows too much? Because I guess, yeah, when I did San Francisco, the next show was about San Francisco. Same thing with Portland. Same thing with Phoenix. Fuck, am I not supposed to talk about the show? But I mean, you know what? That's my show is my life. And my life last week was going to Austin. I mean, am I wrong to fucking talk about it? Maybe this is a weird way of him telling me, hey, dude, we don't want to fucking hear about your road trip. That's not it at all. That's not what he meant. Literally, it was like 9 words of, are you going to wax rhapsodic about it on this week's show? He wants to know genuinely, because maybe he's looking forward to it. Why can't I embrace the fact that maybe people are happy that I'm happy? Why can't I realize that maybe sometimes people are excited about the fact that I went and did well, and they can't wait to hear me talk about it because they're tired of hearing me bitch about Lindsay Lohan's nipples? Maybe they're excited to hear a show of substance. And by the way, let me just interject here. I want to thank everybody who decided to make up for Lindsay Lohan's nipples and my severe hatred and disappointment in them by sending me Blake Lively's nipples. Thank you very much. I had seen them already, but it doesn't matter. I was welcoming every link you guys sent because it gave me a chance to peruse them again. Because you went over and you looked at Blake Lively taking pictures of herself in the goddamn mirror, and you're like, oh my God, it just looked like 2 fucking cantaloupes with cashews on the end of them. Holy shit, those are perfect tits. Blake Lively. All right, so I thank all of you for sending me the link. Everybody it was so great. They all rushed to my defense. Look, and all of them had the same thing. Hey, man, if you're disappointed in Lindsay Lohan's nipples, I've got the cure. Blake Lively's nipples just came out. And which was, again, nice of you, but again, like I just said, as you can imagine, in the porn fucking wormhole that I was in, I found them, and I found them over and over again. So I just need to realize, I guess, that not everybody is attacking me, right? Shouldn't I go ahead and deal with that? Certainly they're attacking the 40-year-old boy, but nobody attacks Michael Glenn Schmidt. I think we all know that, folks. So I'm going to talk about Austin, even though when I read that, I was like, I shouldn't talk about it this week. I should just mention it in passing and say whatever. But I mean, I have to talk about it because that's all I fucking did last week, besides, read about Anthony Weiner's cock. Which, by the way, as I said, I don't know if I ever got to that point. We actually, Lily and I went and saw the naked photo, and if I had that cock, I'd be sending it around to people. Why not? Didn't look bad to me. Trust me, as a guy who's taken cock photos, although I got to be honest, I got mine from a different angle. I went phone up top, so I went top cock with no balls. But he went obviously webcam, and got the whole thing, the whole kit and caboodle photographed. Which, by the way, that's Jewish for cock and balls. Because he's Anthony Weiner. He's a Jewish guy, so why not throw it in there? He got the whole kit and caboodle. Boy, the Jewish people taking it on the chin today. That and the El Salvadorans. I'm letting everybody have it. I'm going to get stabbed. All right. So I went to Austin, Texas, folks. I went and did a show last week, and I'm going to talk about it despite the fact the guy on my Facebook wall doesn't think that I should. And, my day, I was, whoa, what fell? I was a little thrown, as I mentioned last week, because my wife was out of town, so I had to get myself ready. And I was actually worried about it because I have a weird sleep schedule, and my plane left on. Thank you. Hold on, I'm gonna yawn. Because I'm talking about sleep. The second I talk about sleep, boom, yawn shows up. Should we cut out that yawn? We can leave it in? All right. It lets people know that I'm human. I'm not just a chattering cyborg. This is not a robocall from Anthony Weiner's office. Oh boy, if you get a robocall from him, how you got to imagine, like, you're waiting for the dirty talk to start, right? Aren't you? That nips in the bud all of his strategies. He can't do a robocall. Again, I don't. He should not quit, but don't fucking vote for him because he's a liar. That's the thing. Is like you learn a lot about a guy who embraces it and handles a scandal. Old people run this fucking world way too much, man. Old people are still way too much in charge because you got to realize that things have changed, all right? You know, once the capability came up to send your cock all over the place, people were going to do it. They're just going to fucking do it. In the old days, a guy would have to fucking get a Daguerreotype of his fucking cock and then have it sent by Pony Express. It took like 2 weeks for it to go from Kansas to Oklahoma. Now, instantly you press a button, boom, Oklahoma's got your cock on order. Boom, right there. But in the old days, you had to get a daguerreotype. Is that what it's called? What's that?
No idea.
It's that picture in...
Big words.
I don't know. It's that thing in the Wall Street Journal when they do like a picture of you and it's a bunch of ink pixels. I think it's called a daguerreotype or a daguerreotype. I don't know what the fuck it is. In the old days, you'd have to have somebody draw your cock and then call the horse and he'd take it overseas. Maybe no, a horse would not take your cock overseas. That doesn't make any sense at all. That's why we very rarely had any thing to do with China in the old days because horses kept drowning. We tried. We certainly tried to reach out to those people, but horses kept drowning off the coast. Okay. So, what the fuck was I talking about?
Austin. You were talking about Austin.
I yawned again and I had to stop that. Yeah. But I just, because it was in my life and,
You were interrupted by cock.
as always. So I went to Austin and I had to get myself ready and my sleep schedule's fucked. And I should tell you, all right, last week was fucking great. All right, let me just tell you that. Overall, as a week, even though Karen was gone, it hurt. It was sad. I didn't like it. I was missing her, but we were constantly connected via text. As she sent me pictures of everywhere that she went that I wanted to go. We saw a place on Food Network, and literally she sends me a text from there like the next day in Chicago. I'm like, oh, dude. And then she went to Wrigley. She had a good time. I, however, did not. I was in an empty house and working and trying to do whatever the fuck I could. And then I did the show last week, which turned out really good. I thought last week's show was fun. Although you know what? I did the show last week and we talked about an unfortunate battle I had with somebody that I work for. And, I don't like talking about that kind of stuff. I usually don't. I mean, I don't mind, I guess. When you're with your friends or whatever, it's silly to be that guy, but I don't like to portray myself as that kind of person in public and certainly not on my show. I don't want you thinking of me as that guy, but sure enough, though, that show, avalanche of email about how fucking hysterical it is, and then everybody, and every one of them I would read, and I would blanch at it because it would be like, oh my God, that fart story's hilarious. And I'm like, oh, I didn't tell a fart story, did I? Like, I would get fucking sad about it. And people wrote it on my fucking Facebook page. They're like, dude, that fart thing was hysterical. That's the funniest fart thing I've ever heard. I'm like, oh, no, I didn't. I almost wanted to delete it. I'm like, no, don't say that. Talk about me using words like daguerreotype. I mean, that's when I'm smart. I'm smart, right? I'm smart. Not like everybody says. Fucking Fredo. All right. So, fuck, how did I spin off into that now? What the fuck? So, all right, so last week was great. So Thursday, here's the thing. I tried to adjust my schedule to where I could live like a normal person, and then, because I had to fly early to Austin, and I'm like, well, I got to get some sleep. You know, I can't, because normally I sleep all day long, and I'm awake all evening long. And if you don't think I changed the words of that to stop making the slaughter joke, you are sadly mistaken. I beat the slaughter thing into the ground last week, so I can't say it again. So I have to figure out my fucking schedule. So I'm trying to stay awake and asleep, and it just turned out basically, fuck it. There's nothing I was going to do. I was going to have to do what I did and sleep on the plane and hope that I fucking came through. But I had a show Thursday night. I had a show in Los Angeles Thursday night. This is, it was at a show at a restaurant called Pie. I think I plugged it on here last week. Pie on Sunset. And there's a guy named Dan Borelli. He's a comic, and he's listened to me before. I think he's woefully behind on the podcast, quite frankly, but he still knows of me, and he's actually a guy who contacts me and asks me to do shows periodically. Like I did a couple of his shows last year, and then he just happened to get this new room. He's like, you got to come and do it. Now, I'm at a tenuous place in my comedy career, folks. And by the way, the word career does not belong in that sentence. I'm at a tenuous place in my comedy experience. Let's put it that way. Because I've been doing this 20 years, but nobody knows who the fuck I am. And all of the people that I am peers with or friends with have gone on to be famous. And carve out successful careers doing comedy, as they should, because they're fucking hysterical. People like Jimmy and Pat and Paul Gilmartin and Jimmy Dore and all these guys that you know and love are fucking great. And they're great comedians, and they have a work ethic, and they've made it work for them. I am a guy who settles comfortably into whatever niche that I'm in until it ends, and then I go, fuck, I better find somewhere else to settle. I mean, I'm that guy, so I let shit pass me by. So when I go and do these shows in Hollywood, none of these people are my peers, all right? These shows are not really open mics. They're booked shows, but they're younger comedians who don't have any fucking clue who I am. Okay. So I show up and I meet them, and they're all very pleasant. But I will say this about Dan too. He let somebody else like set up the lineup, and this guy had me going second of like 6 people. And, that's fine because I needed to get out of there anyway. But also then part of me, I'm such a fucking dichotomy. Like I want to get in and do my set and then take off because I've got to pack and get ready for Austin the next day. I have a very early flight. But then when I saw that I was second in my head, I even went, really? I'm second in this group of people that that nobody knows? You know what I mean? But in reality, I don't know them. They could be all of them are probably fucking more hysterical than I am because they've been doing fucking stand-up. All I've been doing is talking to you people here in a goddamn kitchen and then periodically every fucking 8 weeks showing up and doing a 2-hour show in somebody's town. So I'm like, well, what the fuck are you upset about? But I mean, that's where my headset is at, where I show up. And Dan was very nice. He goes, when do you want to go up? And I go, it really doesn't matter to me. And he goes, well, I know you probably want to get up early, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And then he adjusted it. And he goes, well, you'll go up first now instead of second. So they put me up first. And but it's still, again, in my head, part of me wants the respect of them going, well, you've got to close. Even though I don't want any of the fucking, I don't want to close because I want to get the fuck out of there. Again, folks, I can't explain the yin and the fucking yang. So they said I could go first, which is fine. So then the female MC goes up, and I should tell you, this room, it was in a Mediterranean restaurant upstairs. Downstairs was like 30 guys smoking hookahs, and upstairs there's not nearly that many for comedy. there's probably like 15 people upstairs, and like 6 of them are comics. So the woman MC goes up and she does her bit, and she was funny. She did a good job. And then she brings me up on stage, and everybody was friendly to me, the other comics, but again, they don't know me, so there's that weird, is this guy funny or is this guy not funny vibe. Nobody has any fucking clue. So I go up on stage, and look, I was fucking hysterical. All right, because I'm me. You know why? Because I'm fucking me. That's why. And I'm fucking hysterical. I got to realize that. Wherever the fuck I go, I'm hysterical. So I go up, and I'm very funny. Whether the people in the audience thought so or not is completely besides the point. But that's not fair. I did okay. I got laughs, but then I kept getting groans. Like, and I will tell you this. I've put a lot of pressure on myself, and it's weird when I go do stand-up now where I'm like, I got to kill. No matter what fucking place I'm at, I got to kill because I don't do it enough, and I need to prove to everybody that I still can do this, that I'm still funny. Well, now I've kind of decided, you know what? Fuck that. Do what you do. And the one-mans are allowing me to do this a lot. The one-mans and then this show are allowing me to say, you know what? Do what you do, and they're either going to come with you or they're not. And you need to hope you can hook them in just with hilarity. Because, again, I don't have any of the technical stuff that comedians have. I don't have any chops. I don't do well with crowds. I mean, I do if they open their mouths, but I don't want to do crowd work. I just want to do my act or talk and be funny and have them realize that I'm funny. You guys all know that. That's my burden. So I go on stage, and it's a small room, and I'm talking. And it's going well. I'm doing well, but I'm getting groans too. But I was also just talking. Like I did a couple of jokes, and then I told the gym stories, which was just a way to kind of limber up on stage because these people aren't going to let me tell a long form story. So I started to talk, and as I'm doing my stand up, a comedian who I met before the show, and his name escapes me, but he's in the room. I can see him. All right, it's a small room. It's smaller than the room I'm in now. Kind of. It's the upstairs of a restaurant. There's probably only like 30 seats. But this kid, I can see him. He's in the back of the room, but it's clearly the back of the room is not far. And as I'm talking, he starts doing air drums. And I'm talking not just like, like on a table, like, all right, let's put it this way. He wasn't playing jazz air drums. Unless it was Buddy Rich fucking solo air drums. I mean, he's got a hi-hat working. He's got his fucking hands going. He looks like Neil Peart behind the fucking drum set playing a solo and hitting fucking woodwinds. I mean, he's going off. And he's on the right side of the room. So whenever I look to the right side of the room, I see him playing his air drums. And on the left side of the room, is the only real big group of people. There's a table that has like nine people at it. And the waitress comes in and starts addressing them. So I look over to her, to that table, and they start talking to the waitress. So I lose them in this small room, and I look over, and air drums is dominating the right-hand side of the room. And I go, hey, fucking air drums? Seriously? And he kept going, and his friends laughed. And I go, hey, and I said his name, and he looked up, and I go, are you going to finish the solo at any point during my act? How's that going to work out? And to his credit, he buried his head on the table, like hit his face, and just started laughing. I go, I can fucking see you, dude. I go, there's 20 people in here, maybe 15, whatever the fuck. I go, but the one group is busy with the waitress. I look over here for some support, and you're busting out a goddamn Neil Peart solo on me? What the fuck? Really? Air drums? I go, and there's not even music. That's the thing. That's a song in your fucking head, and you are going off. It's not like you're just playing and he's laughing. Because he was so fucking busted, and I was getting laughs from the other comics because of it. But I just went on. I don't even get it, dude. And I did it in a funny way because I wasn't mad. It was just so ludicrous. Like, what a choice! If you're whispering or talking, then I'd maybe even get mad. But it was such an odd thing to see this guy just completely like wig out with fucking air drums, and I mean, I'm not kidding, cymbals and fucking working it, so then of course I busted his balls for the next fucking 3 minutes because I only had 10 minutes on stage. But I'm just like, oh yeah, now, here's another joke for you. Hold on, I gotta get the brushes for this one. I mean, just fucking crazy air. So, but that's the level I'm at, folks. That's where there are rooms where people want to sit and see me and fucking love me, and then there are rooms where fucking guys break off into a goddamn imaginary drum solo because I'm so fucking awful. And it wasn't even that I was awful. I was funny. I was funny the whole time. I was getting laughs, even though I was getting groans on top of that. But this guy fucking busted out the air drums and kicked it into overdrive, and I'm like, holy shit, seriously? I have expected him to throw away the sticks and then just do the Moby Dick with the fucking hands. Boom, boom, boom. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I asked him, I go, what drums you playing? You got a double kick drum over there? Then I wanted to hear about the drum set. And then I got big laughs, and I left. Big laughs for a room of 15 or whatever the fuck. And then I finished, and I went out in the hallway. And I was going to split in this kid, Franklin, who I don't even know if he was a comic, but he was the guy who had set the initial list. He comes into the hallway, and he had that look that I'm getting used to. The look of people who don't know who the fuck I am and don't know why I'm there. Like, you're too funny to be in this fucking restaurant. And he walks up to me and he goes, oh my God. He goes, that was fantastic. And I'm like, thanks. He goes, no, really, we are lucky that you came here. Thank you so much for coming to the show. And I go, no, I'm happy. Danny asked me, and I'm really happy. And anytime I would love to come back. And he was like, no, but that was really like that puzzling thing of, I don't understand why you're here being funny when you should be at the Improv somewhere, right? Shouldn't you be somewhere else? And I don't say that in a cocky way, and I don't say it to make him look stupid. I mean, it was just genuine. Really cool admiration and kind of shock that I was that funny because nobody knows who the fuck I am. Again, nobody knows. So when I get to go somewhere and I'm actually funny and people think that I'm funny, and there are people who are like, what the it's like, imagine the first time you heard this show. Well, don't do that. You might have hated it. Hold on. Imagine when you hear me be funny on this show and you go, Jesus fuck, how does nobody know who this fucking guy is? Yeah. I agree. So that was Thursday. But it was great. You know why it was great? Because even though it was some room, above a restaurant, I got showered at night. I got dressed. I drove and listened to my radio in the hustle and bustle. I was in the fucking city. I was down deep in Hollywood off Sunset by the Viper Room. And I felt the vibe of being a working entertainer. It was so fucking awesome. Even if it was just a room above a thing, there was nothing. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. So then I walked out, and also it was kind of neat that Karen wasn't there. Like, Karen was out of town. So I'm like, well, I haven't even eaten dinner yet. Yeah, what's around here? Well, across the street from the Viper Room, there's a pizza place I like because I've gone there many times with Pat Francis. And I was like, oh, fuck, I'll stop in there. I grabbed a slice of cheese pizza and watched Jeopardy on my own time, on my own schedule, knowing that the next day I had a flight to go to a show in Texas. I mean, it was just, it made me not feel like a hose monkey. You know what I mean? I remember last week, I'm like, I'm not a fucking hose monkey sitting at a goddamn desk. It made me feel like I was doing what I was supposed to be fucking doing with my life. So I had my slice of cheese. The cops were next to me. We all played Jeopardy together, and I let the cop win. And because the cop, I was like, in my head, I go, should I say answers? I don't think I should say answers out loud here watching Jeopardy. And the cop started to play. He started to say answers. So I go, well, fuck this. I'm going to play against the cop. So I answered like 3 questions in a row before the cop did, because I read faster. That's my trick, is I can read faster than people. So I would read faster and say the answer. And then I could see the cop was like, he wasn't going to play anymore. So then I went in the tank and I let the cop answer like the next 4 questions. And I actually tanked, like I said 2 wrong answers on purpose. Because, and look, I don't know every Jeopardy answer, but it was like, I'm going to run the football category, of course. And then the other stuff I'm just going to be good at too. You don't fucking care. Whatever. I lost to a cop at Jeopardy. On purpose. I threw it. I threw the game. So then the cops left and they went to go police our fine city to serve and then to protect. And I finished my pizza and then I made my way back into the night. Confident in the fact that I would have rolled that cop at Jeopardy if I really wanted to. Why is it so important to me to make sure you guys understand that I could have beaten this cop at Jeopardy if I wanted to? Why? And if it's so important to me, why didn't I point it out to him? Why didn't I just fucking trounce him? What's he going to arrest me for being smart? I'm taking you in for hogging the Trebek. Fuck that. Take me in then. You know what? Take me in. I deserve to go. Put me in fucking Egghead jail. I'll take $2,000 bail for $2,000, Alex. Yeah, because I'm too smart. That's right. I'm too smart for this town. I'm too smart for fucking cops. What am I? I'm in the 70s. I'm in Dirty Mary and Crazy Larry. I'm too smart for cops. All right. So that was Thursday. I head home, and I got to get some sleep before Friday. I mean, my flight was at 8 a.m. Friday morning at LAX. It means I got to be there by 6:30, whatever the fuck, because it's early, so you can hustle, and you don't need the 2 hours bullshit, because you don't need to really deal with that much security in the morning at LAX. So I got about 15 extra minutes of sleep, and by that I mean I got 15 minutes of sleep. I stayed up and I tried to do all sorts of stuff, because then I had to do all my stuff for the show. I had to get the music cues taken care of. And the good news was I was here last Wednesday, and then Lily had redone the music cues and burned 2 CDs for me. So I was able to take those with me, but I had to do the in-house music and burn it at my own house. And then I had to get the scripts. I had to figure stuff out. And then I had to kind of look at my lines and my jokes and things that I was going to talk about. I mean, I had a general idea of the structure. I mean, I sort of know, but I still wanted to go ahead and refresh myself with it, because there's a lot of verbiage. There's a lot of talking, a lot of me talking. Case in point, this show. So literally, I laid down to sleep about an hour. I got about an hour and a half of sleep. And I couldn't really sleep. I was fitfully tossing. And normally, it's funny, when I go to bed, I burrito up. So I lay under like cover and sheet and other cover, and I roll myself up, and I'm completely rolled up. But this time I sprawled out, because I wanted to make sure the fan was blowing on me, so I would wake up right away when the fucking clock went off. What the fuck do you care? This is such minutia garbage. No one gives a shit. I was wearing, no, I slept nude. I slept in the nude, so take that. Took a picture of myself. Stupid. So I wake up, I get to LAX, and everything's fine. I'm rolling, and get on the plane, hoping beyond hope that nobody's sitting next to me. Nobody was when I checked in, but you know how they change those things. Occasionally, sometimes it'll be some late rush. But I get on the plane. Guess who's on my plane going to Austin, folks? Right there in first class, digging through his BlackBerry, looking important, looking like a strapping hot young man. Jeremy Renner. He's in the second row in first class on my right-hand side, and he's looking at his BlackBerry. And as I walk down, he looks up, and I go, "Hey, Jeremy." And he just immediately buries his face back into his BlackBerry. And I just smiled to myself, because I thought it was hilarious that I would call him Jeremy, that I don't even know him. And then I go down to my seat, and I sit down, and then I begin the hustle, and I wait, and I pray nobody sits next to me. And I think I actually Twittered it. I'm like, oh my God, no, please close the doors, please close the doors. And then, prepare yourselves for takeoff. Door closed, which means leaving, which means nobody next to me. Thankfully, I can sleep on the way to Austin. So I set up my iPod or my iPhone, which I've been using as my iPod, and I listened to the San Francisco version of my show, and then went to sleep. I don't know if I thought I would, by osmosis, I would go ahead and absorb it or remember the jokes. I have no fucking idea. But I made myself listen to it just in case, for a refresher course. Landed in Austin. And when I travel, folks, here's what I travel in. I used to travel in a hooded sweatshirt. and there's a reason I travel in my USC hooded sweatshirt, was because I would put my iPod in the double hand pocket at the bottom of the hoodie, and then I would run the earbuds up inside the hooded sweatshirt and put them in my ears, and then put the hood up so nobody knew that I had my headbones. Nobody knew that I had my tweakedaudio.com/40 headphones in, because otherwise you get into that huge argument with the goddamn waitress and she tells you to take them out because the plane's going to crash. Which, fuck you. Who cares? You know what? I'm a dangerous guy. I don't care if the plane crashes. As long as I get to listen to Tool on the way down, I'm fine being the cause of a plane crash. But I've covered that 1,000,000 times on this show. So, but unfortunately, I didn't wear my hooded sweatshirt. So no, this time instead I wore a T-shirt with a flannel shirt over it, and I put my iPod in there, and I still ran the earbuds up underneath my T-shirt, and so you could see them in my ears, but still the cord was pretty much hidden. And I laid there sleeping, and we landed in Austin, and then I walked off the plane in Austin, and I realized flannel shirt not the best idea for Austin, Texas, because it was 101 degrees. And good for you. And I sort of, like, I had put it on my phone even to check the weather periodically, and I don't think it's been under 92 degrees for a month. And that's not even a joke. I mean, I would check it all the time and go, well, I wonder when that cold front's moving through. Never. And so I foolishly wore a flannel shirt anyway, and I got off the plane. It was just this oppressive fucking heat just from in the gangway, or whatever the fuck that's called. And I walked through what is and Austin's, it's not a huge airport. It's okay. But I fucking kicked in my earbuds, and I threw on some Tool, and I wandered through staring at everybody, and I smelled barbecue. I was like, oh man. And I looked around. There was something called Salt Lick Barbecue. And then there was other restaurants there, and I'm like, well, I should grab something. I go, well, you can't fucking, dude, go get your car and go sleep, you idiot. So I had to go get my car from Avis, and I went ahead and got there, and here's what they said. They were like, hey, we can bump you up to I had a standard, and they go, we can bump you up to a something or other for $20 or $25. It's normally $40. And I'm like, no, I'm here for a day. I don't need that much room. She's like, all right. So I got a Nissan Altima. She goes, you can have a Nissan Altima Coupe or a Mitsubishi Galant. I said, I'll take the Altima. She goes, great. It's a great Nissan Altima. It's bright red. You can't miss it. It's outside. I said, fantastic. So I walk outside in the crazy heat, and I look for C8, and I go to C8, and there's a silver Altima there with a red Altima right behind it in like B8. Same exact car. Just one happens to be in C8, one happens to be in B8. So the guy wanders over from Avis as I stand there looking in the hot sun, and he goes, what's up? And I go, oh, you know what? It's weird. She told me I have a red Altima, but she said it was in C8, and it looks like there's a red Altima in B8, but you can see on my thing because it said red Altima C8. And he goes, y'all need to hold on a second. And he walks off with my pamphlet. I don't know if he thought that I wrote it down myself. I had made the mistake, like I'd spied it from across the parking lot, and I scrawled red Altima C8. I have no fucking clue, but apparently he needed to consult management. And by the way, why am I y'all? Was that because I was a fat dude? And it was like, I understand it's Texas and y'all is standard, but he said y'all, and it was just me. It was it me and my bags, or is it just me and my tone? Maybe he heard my tone. He's like, y'all, you and your tone. Hold on a second. So he goes in, and he comes out. He's like, yeah, you got C8. I go, okay, well, it's the same car. I mean, just one's in B8, one's in C8. Can I just take the red Altima? No. Well, why not? It's the same car. Because it says here C8. I say, yeah, but it also says red Altima. And he goes, well, no, we go by the number. I go, good. Couldn't we go by the car this time? And then you call whoever you just talked to and say that I took the one from B8 and then just changed the silver to C8? And he looks at me. I think because he's not used to being challenged. And quite frankly, I don't even know why the fuck I'm challenging him. I'm standing in a flannel shirt in 105-degree weather, but I really wanted the red car. It looked so neat. I mean, it looked like a clown car. I'm like, yeah, I want to be flashy, goddammit. I want to be flashy when I'm in Austin. It's fucking Texas. I don't have a giant belt buckle. I got to be as flashy as I possibly can in my rental car. So fucking silver Nissan Altima, blah. Fucking bright red Nissan Altima, abso-fucking-lutely. Put me in it, goddammit. Put me and 47 of my clown friends in there. Boom. So, but why am I arguing? There's no point in arguing. Just get in the car and go to your fucking hotel. Go to sleep, stupid. But he gave me this weird look, and he's like, no, you just take C8. And finally I surrendered. I just went, fine, that's fine. But you know what? It does say red Altima. I could probably, like, why? Shut up. Get in the car. So I get in the Altima, and I should tell you, again, very nice car. It's an Altima Coupe. It had 1 mile on it. which I the only thing you would do like, do they take a lap around the parking lot to make sure it works? Like I don't even, because it wasn't driven over, it was brought over on a truck, whatever, but it had literally 1.0 miles. So it was fine. I drove. I went to my hotel and found it, and drove on. They called roads, like they said, it's an interstate or whatever, like the but it's a 2-lane fucking rickety ass highway, covered with dead animals. Holy fuck! I don't know. If you're in Texas and you're an animal, get the fuck out of there. Honestly. But do it via the grass, like run through the woods. Don't cross the street, because inevitably you're going to get... There were so many dead animals on the road in fucking Texas that it looked like it's a sport. Like maybe there are guys in cars who are actually waiting to run over animals. They're just like sitting there waiting for one to get out in the street, and they're going to just fucking nail it. Because there was I don't know what there was more of, and I said this on stage. I don't know what there was more of in Austin, Texas. Were there more dead animals on the road, or black people who don't use the crosswalk? I don't know which one there is more of. Because as I was driving, I'm driving on what is supposedly, it's a 50-mile-an-hour road at 70, and I'm not kidding. Every quarter mile to a half mile, there were 3 black people running across the street, just hustling to get to the other side. And again, they're on one side of the road where there's nothing. Crossing the other side of the road, there's even more nothing. To the point where now I'm like, well, is that a sport? Maybe that's a sport too. Maybe the white people like to run over the animals, and the black people just go ahead and cross it against the crosswalk and see if they can beat the car. That's the only thing I can figure out. And I mean, I watched it, and they were so cool about it. That was the thing. I was like, they look so fucking awesome. There were a couple of black guys when I'm driving. I'm not shitting you, because it's like 50 miles an hour. There's 2 black guys. There's a road. There's a lane, and in the middle there was kind of like an island. There's 2 black guys standing on the island in the middle of the 50-mile-an-hour traffic, talking and like laughing, ha ha, and pointing. And they weren't having like a serious discussion. They were joking. One of them was like leaning on the no parking sign, and they're talking in the middle of traffic. God damn, I wish I was that fucking cool. Oh my God. I wish I was black. If I was black, that's what I would be. I would be that cool. I would be so cool. I'd hang out in the middle of traffic and I'd be like the Fly in Car Wash. I'd just be like, yeah, I'm the coolest guy ever. Be fucking awesome. I'd fucking make butter fall on Otis Sistrunk's head, and I'd hang out in the middle of goddamn Car Wash. That's what I would do. I would be in the middle. I would never use a crosswalk if I was black. And then the awesome clothes. Like, God, if I was black, I'd be so cool. It'd be so great. That was what was coming out of me with the red Altima. That was the black guy in me. I'm like, I want the flashy car, because there were guys in these guys are wearing flashy, like red sneakers and red shorts and like a velvet red shirt. And I'm like, oh, that guy looks awesome. He looks like, what he looks like? It looks like all black people are on a team, and he's in their uniform. Because it was like that funky, like, it wasn't like, I don't want to say FUBU fucking Sean John, but it was just awesome looking clothing that was like colors. Because I'm fat. I can't wear colors. I have to wear just fucking black clothes, which is the irony. You know what? That's the irony. Black guy can wear every color under the fucking sun and pull it off. Fat guy has to wear black. But not cool enough to be black. God damn it. Oh, if I was black, how cool would I be? I'd be the greatest. Just because then you get a big hammer. Nothing worries you. You got just fucking a big hammer, and you play the race card all day. God damn it, that'd be awesome. That's what I would do. If I was black, I would wear awesome clothes, wave my big cock at everybody, and play the race card every fucking second, every time, every chance I got. Because there was a thing, I just saw a story. There was a story where Naomi Campbell, did you read about that? There was some chocolate bar that made a Naomi Campbell reference about a chocolate whatever the fuck, and she freaked out and said, that's racist, and I can't believe it. And everybody was pissed off at her. They're like, oh my God, that's not racist. You're playing the race card. It's like, yeah. She's black. She can play the race card. Go ahead. Do it. I say do it. By all means. They're like, oh, man, now you're just looking for racism. Well, good. I think you should be looking for racism, because you know what? Fucking 80 years ago, they weren't looking for racism. Racism just showed up. You never had to keep your head on a swivel looking for fucking racism, because racism just showed up and wreaked havoc. Now, by all means, I would get the fucking magnifying glass and be a black Sherlock Holmes, and I would look for racism everywhere. And the second it showed up, I'd pull 3 black kings out of my pocket and throw them down and go, boom, that's a full house of race card, motherfucker. That's right, playing it. Don't tell me that they don't fucking that black people shouldn't do that. I would do it all the fucking time. You can shake your head all you want, Lily, but I don't care. God damn it. There's an ad that just came out. Did you see the Dove ad? There's an ad for Dove soap, and it's got a black woman and then like a light-skinned black woman and then a white woman standing together, and above them it says Dove, and it says like fixes your skin, and then it says and behind them it goes from dark to semi to white, and it says good, better, best, and those words are like above the black person, the medium black person, and then the white person. And it is the second I saw it, before I even knew there was a controversy, I go, that's fucked up. How did that get out of your offices? Literally, it looks like you're aspiring to use Dove soap to scrub the black from your skin so you can be best. Fuck that. I would be Black Sherlock Holmes, and I would have the funkiest red trench coat, and I would have the awesomest fucking Sherlock Holmes hat with like a fucking ear laps that were velvet, and I would smoke a big fucking Christoph Waltz and Glorious Bastards black guy pipe, and I would have my huge black fucking magnifying glass looking for racism all over the goddamn place, and I would fucking revel in it. Goddamn, that would be great to be black. I'd be the loudest. I'd be decrying racism everywhere. Damn it! All right, and I would hang out in traffic because I couldn't believe it in Austin, Texas. I don't know if it was cooler. Maybe it was cooler with the cars driving by so fast because it was a fucking 1,000 degrees. So maybe that's the coolest spot in Austin is literally standing in traffic and ving, 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 and just getting a nice breeze from the cars that go by. Because otherwise, it's like living in a kiln. Holy fuck, was it hot? So yeah, I couldn't figure it out. There were so many. It was dead animals and then black guys just running across the street. So I drove, and then I find my hotel and I check in, and it was awesome. I got ready for the show and I got a couple hours of sleep, and I was in constant contact with Nick Ramirez, who I will tell you this, folks. If I'm coming to your town and you're kind of like the person who's taking point, the morning of the show, I'm going to have to forward you an email so you can print out the will call list because I don't have a way to print it and I don't get it until the morning I'm in your town. So just so you know that. If you bring me to your town, one of you is going to have to step up and bring the will call list to the goddamn show, as Nick Ramirez did. And then I was trying to schedule a tech with him, and I said I wanted to do the tech right when I got into town so then I could actually sleep straight through and shower. But he's like, nah, dude, we got to do it at 5 because he had to work because he has a real fucking life and a job. Are you using that? Seriously? Oh, Lily's busting out some a previous sponsor's product and snorting it up her nose. All right. Good for her. Did you get a look at that videotape yet? No, of course you haven't. Sorry, Sean. Oh, he probably bailed. He stopped listening. I can actually smell that now just from you taking the lid off of it. I should take a hit of that. No, I shouldn't. I still have it at my house. I got a few at my house. All right, so I go into my hotel room. It was awesome. You know, I had where was I? In the fucking courtyard. I was in a courtyard by Marriott. And grab some sleep. And the thing is, I don't eat. Like, I don't eat the whole time. I get ready. I fucking crash out. I wanted to do tech with Nick, but he's like, you got to do it at 5. So I could barely sleep. I set a wake-up call. I got a couple hours, woke up, went over, learned some jokes. You know what I mean? And then he texted me. He's like, dude, I don't know if I'm going to make it by 5. Or no, we were supposed to be at 4. And he's like, I don't know if I'm going to make it at 4. Let's make it 5. I said, yeah. And then I got ready to go to his place. And then he's like, hey, how about 5:30? And the thing is, I don't like doing tech because I have to shower and get ready, but I like to do that and kind of breathe a little bit before the show. The show was at 7. So I'm like, all right, 5:30 works. So, which is fine. Again, I don't mind. Nick's been really great and rented me the theater, and I actually haven't paid for the theater yet. I have to send them a check right when I get home because I wrote the check to the wrong person. Like, they changed it the last day. I brought a check for them, but I wrote it to the wrong people. Whatever the fuck. So I got to mail it really quick. Really, actually, I'm lying. It's in the mail. So then Nick is like, just be there at 5:30. I said, great. So I happen to have a hotel that was only 1.5 miles from the theater. It worked out perfect. I drove, got there, and I walked in, and there was another guy there. Because I've never met Nick, but this didn't look like his Facebook picture. And he goes, hi, I'm Adam. I go, hi. And he goes, are you Mike? I said, yeah. He goes, all right, Nick's not going to be here for the tech because work has gone really long for him. So you can just go ahead and explain it to me, and then I'll explain it to Nick. And I think you folks know how much I hate that. How much I hate any glitch in the matrix. You know what I mean? I just, because I have to explain something, all right? And it's funny, when you watch the show, people in Austin or people in Portland and Phoenix, you realize it's not that big a deal. You turn the lights off at some point, and you play some music, and then you turn them on, and then turn the music off. It's easy. It's a fucking monkey could do it. But unfortunately, I have to teach that monkey how to do it. I can't tell another guy and then hope he's going to tell the monkey exactly what to do. Not that Nick's a monkey. This seems weird and wrong. But yeah, I didn't want to be that guy. So I'm like, I immediately go to my fucking sour place, and I'm like, all right. And we go into the room, and I look around the room, and I will tell you, I had never seen the theater. You know, Nick had volunteered the theater. It was great of him to do so. And then I got to the theater, and I looked around and I was like, oh my God, it was really small, smaller than I thought it was going to be. And I will tell you this, he had told me when he's like, hey man, we got a capacity of about 40 people that could fit comfortably. And a couple weeks ago, that was not a problem because I almost canceled the show because, again, I told you we'd only sold like 12 tickets in 6 weeks. Well, my efforts at publicity and promotion seemed to work out fine because the night before the show, I wrote Nick and I said, all right, we're up to 32. So we should be okay, and it'll be fine, blah, blah, blah. And I still was going to lose money on it, but whatever the fuck. So that was Thursday night. Friday morning, I get on the plane. I should tell you this. I get an email from Brown Paper Tickets, and they tell you your final count, 45. I sold 13 tickets overnight. So now the venue is not only sold out, but it's oversold for comfort. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I was excited to have a big crowd. And so I told people, like, because I had told people, hey, you can walk up and maybe buy tickets because I wasn't sure. And I had to Twitter in the morning, there are no more walk-ups. The theater is at capacity. I'm sorry. Well, I did not realize how at capacity the theater was because when I went into my tech, I walked in and I'm like, holy fuck. I mean, it was a shoebox. It was tiny. It looked like I was waiting, honestly, for Zed to show up and pull the GIMP out of the floor. Because it was so small and dark, and it was like the ceiling was really low. And I'm looking around, I'm like, oh my God, that was just, and it had this melange of seats, these different seats, like it had couches and chairs, and never the twain shall meet. And then there's some seats on the left, and then there's not, and it looked like a hideout, where you would, exactly. Mr. Pink should have been laying there bleeding out. While Mr. Blonde brought in a fucking cop and they tortured him right there in the fucking room. Because it was that kind of small, weird hideaway joint. And it's off that 50-mile-an-hour road, so you got to make that dangerous turn. And it's also right next door to a video store. The last one in America, quite frankly, as far as I'm concerned, because video's dead, right? Not in Austin. That's how they keep it weird. They have a fucking video store, and they had several. I saw several. Within a mile and a half to the theater, I saw 4 video stores. Austin, buy some Blu-rays, all right? But they're being far too busy playing Taunt the Traffic. So I go in and I do the tech with Adam, and he was a nice guy again. I was worrying for nothing, as I thought I would be, but it doesn't matter because in that moment I'm like, because there's one thing I have to explain at the end. And so we put in the disc where we have to run down the blackout music, the ones that Lily's had burned for me. And hey, guess what? Lily burned the wrong discs. Yeah, you gave me the old discs. You burned the old, because I changed the music cues from Phoenix and Portland, and so she and we sat Wednesday and we redid them and we edited them and we burned them and everything was great. And I didn't check them when I got home because honestly, once I got home Wednesday night, it's not like I could come back to her house Thursday and do them again because she had a burlesque thing and she was going out of town. But he presses play. And I go, okay, this first song's about 15 seconds. And it wasn't. It was 43 seconds. And I'm like, oh, no. And I go, do me a favor, jump to song 4. And a music cue that I had completely taken out was on the disc. And I'm like, oh, dude. So then I was even more mad because it meant even more explaining to Adam. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It worked out. It just meant I had to tell them what to do instead of it being more plug and play for them. So it's no big thing. Get to the point. So the bottom line is I'm doing the tech with Adam. It seems to be going okay. And then Nick shows up in the middle of it and I'm able to kind of tell him what's up. But Adam had taken notes and he transferred them to them. And I warned them both. I said, look, I'm going to make fun of everything, right? I'm going to make fun of this room. I'm going to make fun of you, Nick, when you mess up the music, inevitably that you will because you were late for tech. And thankfully he laughed because I'm like, please laugh at that. Please know that I'm kidding because you have a real life and a real job. There's no fucking reason you should come and text some idiot from Los Angeles. So I bailed. Went back to the hotel, got ready for the show, grabbed a shower, and I will tell you this, folks. I made that decision. I was like, it came time to decide product in hair or no product in hair. I think we all know I don't put product in my hair ever, at all. But I decided that for some reason when I go on the road now and do these shows, I need to start putting product in my hair. I don't know why I made that decision, but I did. And I did put product in my hair in Phoenix, but did not in Portland. So I said to myself, you know what? On-off schedule. Got to do it. Got to put product in your hair. So I got out of the shower, got dressed, got ready to go, and then I was like, all right, put some stuff in your hair and just squish it around. And I've learned my lesson. I didn't go crazy like I did in Phoenix with like 9 dots. I just put 2 dots, rubbed it in, got it in my hair, and I started to fucking squish it all around my head and moving and on the sides, looking good, knowing how to put it in product. It was fantastic. Finished putting the product, and I go to wash the stuff off my hands, and I grabbed their bar soap, like their little hotel bar soap, and I washed, and I looked down, and I didn't realize I had 2 furry catcher's mitts at the end of my arms, folks. My hair, I pull out like a fucking, it looked like a Brillo pad of hair. Like by the time I finished with the soap, I put it up, and it looked like there was a guinea pig, like sitting there in a soap dish, because I have really long hair, and sometimes it all comes like it's thick and it comes out. But I was a little stunned. I was like, oh, that kind of threw me for a fucking loop. Then I brushed my hair back, went back, drove about 1.5 miles, went to the theater, walked in. There's people who it's always odd walking in because there are people who are there who they know me, but I don't know them. So I walk in and like, hi, because I've decided I'm just going to say hello now instead of trying to act like a tough guy and go to the back. I said hello, and I walked in and went into the green room, sat there like a lump and waited for the show to start. Because I got to learn jokes. I got to do my affirmations. I got to keep telling myself I'm going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. And Nick was real nice. He comes in the back. He's like, you need anything? And I go, you know what? Can I get a towel? Because I bring a towel with me, but I didn't want to start using it to mop my fucking head then because I wanted it to be dry when I went on stage because I'm weird. Everything has to be just so when I go on stage. So I said, hey, do you have a towel? Like, I said, there's paper towels behind the bar. Can you grab those or can you just get me a towel? And he's like, oh, yeah, I can get you towels. We got towels. I said, great. So I'm in the back and I got I was sweating, but not really profusely, but I'd also come out of the shower. My hair was still kind of wet. So it was that I had a general slickness that I had to get rid of. He comes in the back with towels and he goes to hand them to me, and they're like stiff, like crunchy, brown, stiff, crunchy towels. And I looked at him and I go, are those clean, dude? And he goes, well, what'd you need them for? And I go, I was going to wipe my face. He goes, oh, don't use these. And he throws them to the side and goes to get me paper towels. What the fuck did you think I needed them for, Nick? Am I going to go chamois down my car with the fucking towel? What am well, I'm sitting on the couch. Why the fuck else would I need towels? Am I going to buff my shoes? You got to be shitting me. And they were discussing, where do you have filthy towels? Where you're like, yeah, I got those. I'll go get those. I'll go get you some filthy towels. Who asked for filthy towels, Nick? God damn it. I'm not really mad, but still, it was so ridiculous that you would bring somebody dirty towels. Here you go. Here's a couple of dirty towels for you. What the fuck would I need dirty towels for? Who needs dirty towels? Unless I was making like the biggest dirty towel ball in the universe. Like that foil, when people stick foil on there, when Pee Wee Herman like, yeah, bring my foil ball out. Because that was a real thing, and I use that as a real reference. Stupid. So I sit in the back, and I'm in the green room, and I'm waiting to do the show, and then they finally seat the room, and he's like, when do you want to go? And I said, well, we can go around 7:15. And around 7:15, there was a party of 8. There were like 8 people that hadn't shown up. And I was about 7:10. I said, I'll tell you what, we'll wait till 7:15. And then we'll if they're still not here, we'll give them 5 more minutes, and then we'll start the show. And then he went to the bar, and he goes, all right, we're going to start in 5 minutes. And then he comes back. It was 7:05, and he comes back, and I go, what do you mean 5 minutes? He goes, you just said we'll start in 5 minutes. I go, no, we'll wait till 7:15, and if they're not here, we'll give them 5 minutes, and then we'll go and start. He goes, oh, and he goes back to Annette, who was running the bar, and he's like, yeah, we're going to start at 7:20. So finally at 7:15, I stood up, and I'm like, fuck it, let's just do this, because I was getting a little weird in the back. And went out to do the show, and fucking amazing time. Amazing show. Everybody was great. I walk in, and everybody was really nice, and they cheered, and they were really fun. I will tell you that this happened. The show itself, I will tell you this, in the middle of the show, I went up on a story for the first time. And during doing the one man, it's the first time I lost my place. During the first story, there's a natural ending for the first story. And I hit the natural ending, and it didn't get what I wanted. So I was like, well, then you should just tell. All right, because I have a story that I tell in the beginning of the show. And I tell as much of the story as I want to get to a natural ending with a funny part, and then I move on. But there's more to what happened. So I started to tell the story, and I hit the natural ending, the funny part that I've done in the other cities, and it ends, and it got nothing. Like, it got no laugh, it got nothing at all. And I was like, ooh, in my head on the fly, I go, well, just tell the rest of the story then. You know what I mean? So I started to tell the story, and in my head, I'm realizing, dude, the reason you cut out the rest of this story is because it's not funny. There's nothing funny here. You hit the natural funny part, and it was this fucking speed bump, and you should have just moved on to the more funny stuff. But then I started to talk, and I got myself into a hole where I'm like, oh, fuck, how do I get out? I mean, I'm going to tell this story, and it's literally, there's nothing funny in the rest of this anecdote. So as I'm talking, I start talking, and I took a beat, and someone took a photo of me, and it went, and it threw me, and I looked at them, and I was like, really? A picture? Because someone else had been taking pictures earlier, and I made fun of them. I said, you're going to take a picture too in the middle of that? That seems odd. And then I turn around, and I go, where was I? And I literally, because I was so used to ending at the normal spot and going to the next spot, I lost where I was in the actual story. And I actually said to everybody, I go, that's the first time that's happened to me. I go, I actually lost my place and I don't remember where I was. And tension filled the room because everybody realizes that I'm a fucking house of cards ready to fall apart at any fucking second. I think they all went, is he going to respond well to this? How is he going to respond to this? And again, that could just be on me. I could be the one who felt the tension because I felt the pressure of fucking up. But again, that's the difference between being in a comedy club and being in a room full of people who, quite frankly, are my friends. And who know me and listen to me and know exactly what to expect. They were willing to ride it out. They were cool and they let me go on and didn't call my balls out on it. You know what I mean? Like in a comedy club, if I would have said, fuck, I lost my place. Where the fuck was I? Everybody would have gone, boo. I don't know if they would have booed. Seems strong. They would have booed me right away after I'd been funny for, 15 minutes before that. But yeah, so then I did the rest of the show and fucking killed it. It was so great. And it went really, really well. Nick was really cool and everybody was great. And the thing is, I had another show later in the night. So I finished the show and I walked out of the room. I never know what to do when the show's over. I don't know whether to stand in the room and just shake hands and, wait for a receiving line. So there was no backstage. So I ducked out of the room and I went and got a Propel and I chugged it. And then I fucking mopped my head because I was, dudes. All right. Being on stage, the show lasted about 2 hours and 20 minutes. And being on stage for that long, anyway, as a fat guy, is going to be inducing me to sweat. But fucking in the heat, and they had it was funny. There was an air conditioning that was going in the room. Thank God it was a small room, and they had the air, and it was really cold. I mean, it was fine. It wasn't hot in the room, but it was hot to stand there and talk. And Nick, before the show, he said to me, he goes, "Hey, there's an air conditioner going in there, but I can turn it off because it's kind of loud if you want to be heard." I'm like, you'll have to mop me up and fucking wring me out to get me out of here. No, fuck that. Leave the air on. These people are already trapped with me for fucking 2 hours. The last thing I want to do is put them in a fucking sweat box. But I sweat like a motherfucker. And I mean, I looked down and I was shiny because my shirt had absorbed all the sweat that it could and it was starting to wick off of me. Oh my fucking Christ. So then I come back in the room and everybody's going out the side door and I'm like, oh, where's my love going? Where are you? No, you guys get to tell me how great I am. Don't disappear. But people, they went out the side door and I'm like, no, please stay and tell me you love me. But some people did. They came up to me and I took some pictures with people. They were very nice. And I warned them all. I'm like, I'm very sweaty, and they're like, that's okay. And again, they would point at their husbands. And it was really great to meet everybody. Everybody was so fucking cool. And, there's a guy named Troy who listens to the show, came up to me. Brian, and Erica and David were there. A ton of people. Andrea was there. She came up to me, and it was amazing. Chris and tons of people came up. As a matter of fact, I'll say this. Chris, who came up to me, and I think I met him, whatever. He was very nice. But he wrote a review of the show on his website. And I don't want to... it's kind of a personal blog. Like, it seemed like he put it on the web, which goes against everything I just said. If it's on the internet, people are going to find it. But what he wrote was very, very nice, and I thought it was very complimentary, and it was also about him. It revealed some things about him, so that's why I don't want to say exactly where it is or what it is. So, Chris, if you don't mind me telling people, you can write me, and I'll put it on my Facebook page, a link to it. That'd be fine, because I don't want to just send people over there, because it was he wrote some things that were semi-personal about himself, so I don't want to make it look like I'm hey everybody, look at that guy who loved me, and then they read about his stuff and they're like, oh. But it went so well, and I met Tony from Houston came, and he brought his friend Matt, who'd never seen me, and Steven, who started this whole thing. He was the guy who started the page, and I met him, and I signed a bunch of stuff. It was great. I signed autographs. People brought calendars for me to sign, and David Cook had a Stripple shirt, and he's like, you got to sign it. He gave me a Sharpie from the Jagerbomb cast, David Cook, and so I signed the back, signed his Stripple shirt, and that was great. So, and who else came? My friend, a friend of mine, Mark. I've talked about, remember Marv Weber, Mav Weber, who went and got the SAT scores. Mark is the guy I made his mom. I tricked his mom, and she gave me all the information. Mark is the guy who, when I had to go, he donated to the show. I've talked about him on here before, and he was supposed to come to Phoenix, and he didn't make it. But he surprised me and came to fucking Austin, which was crazy because I haven't seen him since high school. You know what I mean? So seeing him was ridiculous, and everybody was great. So thank you all for coming out to Austin. It was a fantastic time. I had an amazing show and everything went well. But I will say this, like I said, the show was about 2 hours and 20 minutes long. And a guy said to me, he's like, "Oh man, what did we miss?" And I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Oh, well, like Portland was 2 hours and 40 minutes. Like, you know, and you didn't do that much time here." And I'm like, "No, you saw everything. I didn't talk in circles as much as I did there." He's like, "Oh yeah, I was disappointed because you said it was like going to be, you know, that." And I'm like, "Oh really? I did 2 hours and 20 minutes and I look at me, I'm dead. I'm fucking dead. You don't believe me? Look at all the pictures on people's Facebook pages of me being dead. Like, I'm like, as I'm trying to fucking stand upright while I'm talking to them. Because I've been standing in one spot. My fucking abs are killing me. I'm just like, oh, Jesus Christ. And I understand what he meant. And that's why I said I fucked up by saying on here how long the shows have been, because then people think I'm cheating them and I'm not giving them what they deserved. And that's not the case. Because again, I didn't even do the 7-Eleven story in Portland. It was still 2:40. I didn't do it there. It was 2:20. If I'd have thrown that in, it was going to be a fucking half hour long, another half hour. And it was funny. Andrea was very nice, and she even wrote me. She's like, it was long, but it was well worth it. And she's like, but isn't that what every guy wants to hear? You know, you were a little long, but it was absolutely worth it. I'm like, yeah, absolutely good. Thanks. So everybody was really cool, and they posted on my page, and everybody was real nice. And I can't even explain to you enough. You know, I hope I'm not waxing rhapsodic too much about the show, but Austin was fantastic. And also it was all part of feeling like an entertainer, feeling like I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. I had done it the night before. Then I got on a plane. I showed up there and I did the show, and it was fantastic. And in between shows, I had another show that night in that theater. So I started to meet some, local. I should tell you this. Oh, get this. I fucking walk off stage. All right. Right when I finished the show, I told you I left the room and I said goodnight. And everybody's going crazy and they're being very nice and clapping. And I walked out, and there was a guy at the door. And I recognized him. I thought I recognized him, but I'm like, well, that's not him. That he would never be here. And he goes, "Man, you're really funny. That was a great job." And I said, "Thanks." And I shook his hand and I walked outside. And I mopped my fucking head and I chugged my Propel. And then I came back in and I saw all the people who love me leaving. I'm like, "No, don't go." And I'm talking to Nick Ramirez later. I'm doing stuff and I'm getting ready for the late show. And Nick Ramirez goes, "Did you see Barry Sobel?" And I go, that was him?" And he goes, "Yeah." I go, "Fuck." I go, "If I would have known that, I would have said, I can't do no more," when I walked off stage and walked past him. But in my head, I was like, there's no way that's Barry Sobel. Why the fuck would he be in Austin, Texas in this shitbox theater watching me sweat my balls off? That makes no sense. But it was him. He was at the front, at the door, and he saw me, and I guess he liked it. He enjoyed it because he told me it was great, which was nice, and shook my hand. But it pisses me off because I would have I would have talked his ear off about him, for Christ's sake. And also it would have been cool to have somebody who's famous and funny see that I was funny and have them go, "Hey, you're great some more." All right, good. But yeah, Barry Sobel was there, and then he didn't do a set at the Late Show, which I thought, why the fuck is he there? But maybe he lives there now. I get no idea. I have no clue. But I went in the back, and again, it was all part of being an entertainer. I met people, and everybody was very nice. They took pictures. I signed autographs. And a lot of people had bought tickets for the Late Show because they were going to watch me do a regular stand-up set. So I'd already decided I was going to do the 7-Eleven story at the Late Show because I was closing the Late Show, and I had 20 minutes. I would tell the 7-Eleven story for the people who loved me, and I would hopefully win people over. Everything would be great. So in between shows, I go in the back, and I did a podcast there at the theater. A guy named Cameron Buchholz, he does a podcast called CB Radio. I don't know when it'll be up. He's going to let me know when it's up, but he actually interviewed me in the green room at the theater. It was like being a celebrity. Like I did a show and I'm waiting for another show and I'm getting interviewed in the back and people are being nice and people are bringing me clean towels now. So I've graduated from what I was in the beginning of the show. Although my fucking hair, it was like, seriously, I put product in my hair at 105 degrees. It was like being a candle. Like it was like it melted and rolled down my fucking head. So it was like my head was covered in lube. It was fucking horrific. And I kept trying to mop it off and my head was just all slick. Oh, it was terrible. So I go and I do my interview and I'm excited. I'm talking to some people. I'm getting along with them. And I've got that. Now I've proved that I'm funny. So now people are kind of like, they're talking to me and everybody's nice. And I'm waiting for the Late Show. Well, the Late Show starts at 10 and I see the list. And I had wanted to go out with people who were fans of the show, and I had mentioned that. if they wanted to. I didn't want to make anybody do anything they didn't want to do. So they put up on the wall the list. There's 15 comics on The Late Show, and I'm last. And they're all doing 3 to 5 minutes, but still, you're still looking at over an hour, hour and a half till I get on stage, which is fine. It gave me time to decompress and dry off. And also gave me time to go out in the parking lot, and the people who saw my show were out there hanging out, and that's when I signed some autographs and met some people. I met Steve had his whole group of people. I met Arian, who was there. She had never seen me before, and she came to the show and liked it, which was great. That was a lot of people came for the first time. Like they were dragged by friends, obviously, but then they wound up at least telling me to my face that they liked it and they enjoyed it, which was good. So I was happy to win some people over. But I'm waiting for the next show, and I'm waiting and waiting. And my buddy Mark is there, and Tony from Houston and Matt, we're all in the hallway. Finally, it gets about 12 comics in. I decide to go sit and watch. And, people are chewing it. It's an open mic night, okay? So there was one comic who was real kind of vocal in the back about how much he wasn't enjoying anybody's act. He was pretty. It was weird. It was like, because I figured it was a scene, but he was pretty adamant about not enjoying some guys. And then he goes up on stage, and he chews it. Like he didn't do well either. And Mark looks at me and loudly, okay, we're not in the room, but it's a small room, but we're in the hallway. And he looks up at Tony from Houston. He goes, "This is the guy who kept making fun of everybody all night for doing bad. And look at him. It's terrible." And I go, "Shut the fuck up." And he looks at me and he goes, "What?" I go, "Shh." I go, "Dude, this is their house. I'm in their house, okay?" I go, "Besides, I'm going to go up and chew it for 20 minutes too, and you're not going to am I bad? No." And Mark was like, "I apologize. He was in the back being real negative, and now he's up there and he's doing the same thing everybody else did." I go, "Because this is practice." I go, "I don't mean to be mean." I go, "But this is where you can go suck. You're supposed to suck here, so when you go to a real place, you can be good." And they understood, but at the same time, if you've sat through an hour of comedy that you didn't enjoy, you're going to comment about, "Boy, this isn't good." And I understand that because that's what real people do. But as a comic, I know what's going on. I'm like, and especially I'm a guest there. They asked me to do this. So this crowd was dead. All right. They were pretty fucking bad. And it was all these hipster young kids on the side of the stage. And then there was a weird mix of old people in the middle. Like it was such a weird blend. But I knew. I was like, in my head, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be tough. Right before I go on, the comic just before me goes on stage. Joe, I think was his name. Nice kid. And as a joke, he looks at the hipsters that are stage left. So he looks at them and he says, "Hey," because it was bring your own beer, and there was a kid with a 6-pack. And he says to him, he goes, "Oh, you brought a 6-pack, huh?" And the guy's like, "Yeah." He goes, "And you don't even offer me one? I can't believe it. I'm here to do you a job, and you don't even offer a beer? That's crazy." And he goes, and he looks to the crowd and he goes, "So if you're wondering who's selfish in this crowd, I think we can go ahead and pick out Mr. 6-pack." And boom, he gets hit by a beer bottle. And I'm sitting on the bench, and I hear just like thud, and then you hear the rolling. You hear it roll on the stage. And folks, I don't do well with that kind of thing. And I kind of stand up and I lean in and I look and I go, "Did he just throw a fucking bottle at him?" And Mark goes, "Yeah," because Mark was watching. I wasn't. I was trying to learn some jokes. I was staring at the floor. And so this kid probably lobbed it, but still bounced a beer bottle off Joe's shoulder, and then it landed on the fucking stage and rolled. And Joe, and it was weird. It got like a laugh, but a gasp, because he threw a fucking beer at him. And Joe picked it up, and infinitely better than I could have ever done it, completely rolled with it, looked at the beer, like kind of mimed that he was going to open it, and it wasn't a twist off, and he goes, "No opener? All right." And that was fucking great. That was a great line and a perfect way to deal with it, because I would have been all over the fucking kid. And he goes, "No opener," and he goes to talk, and the opener sails past his head and cling, 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 just bounces on the fucking stage. And I'm look, I don't do good at that sort of thing. And I'm like, I wanted to get in there and go, "You're out. Get the fuck out." Like you don't let those motherfuckers stay. They threw a beer and a fucking, And it was funny. Everybody I tell this story to then goes, "Well, it's kind of funny that he threw the opener." And I'm like, no, it's funny what Joe said. You don't throw the opener. That's not ever funny. You don't, trust me, As the guy on stage, it's dark. You can't see what's coming at your fucking head. Don't throw shit at me. I'm not in the zoo. So Joe rolled with it, grabbed the opener. I think he opened the beer and then he did his act and I'm off stage and I told Mark, I go, this is not going to go well. Trust me. And they introduced me as the headliner and I was doing 15 to 20 minutes. And like I said, I was going to do the 7-Eleven story. So I got on stage and I did I talked about the beer, of course, right away. Because when I said, did he just throw a fucking beer at him? Mark goes, I think it was part of the act. So when I went on stage, I go, yeah, I looked at my friend. I go, did he just throw a fucking beer at him? And he goes, yeah, I think it's part of the act. Trust me, as a comedian, it is never part of the act to have somebody throw a beer and bounce it off your fucking shoulder. And that got a laugh, you know what I mean? And then I said, you know what? I don't have any opening bits, so I'm going to do 2 jokes that I really like, and I did them, and I said, I'm going to tell you a story. And I got great laughs on the 2 jokes. And then I started to talk and be me and talk in circles and do what I wanted to do. And they were not having it. Like they were not following me. They weren't with it. And so I basically defaulted. It's my own fault. I chickened out. Yeah. Because I didn't want to tell a long story and be met with these long pauses and silences. And so I did my gym stories. I defaulted to that because I know I have that in my hip pocket. I can always use that to get through fucking 20 minutes and that'll be fine. And I did them and I did okay. I don't think I did good. I didn't chew it, although in my head I chewed it because I didn't crush, you know what I mean? And I didn't want to leave Austin on that fucking note. I didn't want to be the guy who fucking killed for 2.5 hours and then I was the headliner of the open mic and have all the comics go, who the fuck is this idiot? You know what I mean? It was just, but that's exactly what happened. That's the taste I left in everybody's mouth. And as many times as everybody tried to assure me after the show that was not the case, I still felt that way and there was nothing anybody could fucking do about it. But the show ended. They were very nice. Everybody was cool. And I wound up making some dough. Holy fuck. All right. Lily just showed me we're at an hour and 40 minutes, and I'm not even through Saturday. I'm not even up to Saturday. I gotta shave this down. All right. So, but Austin, I can't thank you enough. And people came from Minnesota. People drove down. Erica and David drove from Kansas. People, like I said, Tony came from Houston. Someone came from Iowa. I mean, it was just incredible. So, again, I can't thank everybody enough for coming out to the Austin show. It was fantastic. And it made me realize that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and I even Twittered that. It's like they make me believe that it can happen, that it's possible. So, show ends, and Erica and David were very nice. David Cook is from the Jagerbomb cast, and he hung out with Erica Rosen, who he's dating, and they've been fans forever of this show. Always wrote me and been very complimentary and supportive. And they said, "What are you doing?" And I said, I'm doing nothing." And they said, "You want to do something?" And I said, "Yeah." I'd prefer to go somewhere quiet. I don't want to go to a bar. And I guess Erica used to live in Austin, so she knew of some places. And we went to a food place called Trudy's, which was open to like 2 a.m. And they served booze, and the 3 of us had dinner and fucking hung out. It was really cool. I ordered a stuffed avocado for the like they had. She's like, "Oh, you should get these stuffed avocados." I'm like, "I'll get the appetizer." And then I bit into it. And I'm like, "That is the greatest thing I've ever eaten in my fucking life." She's like an avocado stuffed with chicken and fried in graham cracker crust. Oh my God, it was fucking amazing. Yeah, it was fantastic. But I will say this: we're there late, right? We get there about 12:30, 12:45, and we get seated. And I don't know if I've ever seen more kids eating dinner late in a restaurant than I ever did that night. And Eric even commented on it, and David too, because a family sat next to us. And I will say this, that happens a lot here in LA. You go to a restaurant, it's like midnight, and there's a family with like a baby and 2 kids. And I will say this, and again, look, whatever. It's usually Hispanic families. Like, and I don't know if they don't have bedtimes in Hispania. I have no idea what the fuck, how it works. I don't know if Latinos don't care so much about, like they make their own rules. They make their own rules, Chief. But it just seemed odd, and it's happened here. I've been at movies, and scary movies. I told you, R-rated movies, and the 11 o'clock film, a Hispanic family will come in with a baby and 2 small children, and they'll sit down and watch Saw. It's like, what the fuck? Not only are they up too late, but they shouldn't be watching this kind of movie. Well, I don't know what's happening. This whole thing is wrong. But even worse was this family sits next to us and they sit down and they're eating, and the kids are there and they got a couple of high chairs, booster chairs, and they're eating their food, and we're talking, we're hanging out. And I should tell you this, I couldn't decide between chicken flautas and fish tacos. And I was trying to decide which one to get. And then while I gave my order, I said, "You know what, flautas, go with the chicken flautas." I said to Erica and David, "Hey, if I get both, will you guys have any?" They were like, maybe. And so I went, I can't do that. I can't order both because I was so hungry. But usually I'm with Karen and I'll say, can you have like half of this and I'll split it because I can't eat a lot of food. I just want bites. I want to say to him, hey, do me a favor, bring out fucking a bite of flautas and a bite of fish tacos and I'm done. So I ordered my food, and then they brought the mini avocados, the appetizer, and I bit into it. I went, holy shit. And Brandon was my waiter. I go, Brandon. And he looks at me and I go, dude, do me a favor. Whack flautas and bring me the big version of this because they had it as a dinner. He's like, oh, awesome. No problem. And then they bring us our entree, and it's covered in some horrible cheese. Like pepper, sweetsa, cheese sauce. Dude, fuck cheese and fuck sauce. I hate sauce. Not interested. I think I talked about it earlier with the New York onions. I don't want goddamn sauce. I want a stuffed avocado on its own with its graham cracker crust flying in the sky. I don't need it buried in some sort of fucking white pepper cheese nonsense because my tongue is all fucked up. I'm having trouble with spice, folks. You don't care. It's just making this fucking show longer. But so I had to scrape the cheese off, and like literally it was like a sauce, but you could move it. It looked like biscuit gravy, like when you get sausage gravy on biscuits, that white. But I had to scrape it off and move it, and then I had to cut open, and I had to eat from the middle of the fucking stuffed avocado, and tried to work on it. And I was like, oh no, sauce? Why is there sauce? I'm not a sauce guy, Brandon. And whatever. I didn't. It was my fault because I didn't read the menu. I just yelled it from across the room. Bring me that. And and when he did, and it was covered in Suiza sauce, I'm like, fuck. And then, unbelievably, the manager comes by like 15 minutes later, and he looks and he goes, hey, I have a question. He goes, how are you enjoying your meal? I said, oh, I really think those stuffed avocados are good. He goes, well, Brandon mentioned that you probably weren't enjoying it because it had the Suiza sauce on it, and we should have probably pointed that out to you. I go, it's not my fault. I go, it's not his fault. I go, I decided on the fly, and I said I would get it. And he goes, well, is there anything I can do? Like anything I can bring for you or anything else I can square away? Now, mind you, I never asked for the manager. The fucking waiter saw it and told the manager, and he came to me. And I said, look, dude, this is my fault because I ordered it without checking what sauce is on there, but I can't believe you're doing this. Thank you so very much. You're so nice. He goes, no problem. We just want to make sure you're having a good time. And he walks. Meanwhile, the Hispanic family next to me is having a food fight. I mean, I look over and there's sauce flying, tortillas on the floor. There's shrapnel all over the fucking place. These kids are eating and flailing their hands. It looked like they gave the kid a taco and went, okay, learn to fly. Because he's holding it and flapping his arms, waiting to take off, and taco meat's flying all over the fucking place. There's lettuce. It's just this fucking, it looks like a bomb exploded in a Chi-Chi's. It's fucking awful. And they get up to leave, and they walk off, and I look over, and the two bus boys and Brandon have to clean it up. And I even said to David and Eric, I go, that's a tragedy, right? That's fucking terrible. Like, yeah. I go, it looks like someone was beaten to death with Mexican food. It did. It looked like the quesadilla killer had stomped in and murdered everybody. Holy fuck. There was just food and napkins and bullshit. Oh, an overturned plate. Who overturns a plate? Unless you're angry and you're storming out. Nobody overturns a plate, but it was flipped over on itself. Fuck you. God damn it. If you're going to, I guess it's the kids. You know what that is? That's the kids going, we want to go to bed. Don't bring us to Trudy's in the middle of the night. We're having a problem with spice. Haven't you heard? Huge mess. And then we continue eating. We had a great conversation. David and Erica were really nice. They were very sweet. And then the manager comes over again about 10 minutes later. He goes, hey, do me a favor. I brought you a gift card. You guys can use this on your next visit to Trudy's. I just want to tell you thank you so much for coming. And I'm sorry. And I go, this is going to be strange. I will never come to Trudy's again. He goes, what? I said, I'm from Los Angeles. I go, I'm in town for one day. And he looks at them and he goes, can you use it? And they go, we're from Kansas. We drove in like 8.5 hours. And he goes, oh, man, I'm so sorry about that. He goes, you know what? Use it tonight. And I go, what? He goes, yeah. He goes, take it and use it tonight because I want to make sure you had a good time. And basically, it was $10. So it covered my little Suiza experiment. And but I couldn't believe it. It's the nicest guy, unbelievably unsolicited, came over. And I thanked Brandon, who looked just like Giovanni Ribisi. And to the point where we didn't even want him to talk. We're like, don't talk. Just be Ribisi. Be Gio Ribisi and bring me something awesome. And he was very nice. And it was great. So we hung out, closed the place. And then they drove me back to the hotel. And they came in. And we walked in. And it's like, I looked like hell. I mean, my hair looked fucking awful. I looked so fucking bad. Because I had sweat like a motherfucker and I'm dried out. You know, I'm just terrible. And they wanted to take pictures in the lobby. And so we had to get the woman from the place, and her name was Keila, but I called her Kayla because it was Keila. So I assumed it was a long E, but I should have known it was like Sheila, Keila. But I said, hey, Kayla, can you help? And I called her Kayla twice. We said, can you take a photo? She's like, absolutely. And she takes the photo. And then David says, thank you. What was your name? And she goes, Keela. It's Keela. And it was nice of her not to correct me. And I said, oh, well, that's nice. Thank you. So David and Erica took off. I went upstairs, packed the bag. By now it's 3:40. I got to get to the airport. I get a flight at 7:45. Wow. So I got to be at the airport. I figure I got to be at the airport by 6:45, small airport. Because in my head, I'm like, well, it's either going to be one of two things. There's going to be either nobody in the building or it's going to be a security line with one TSA guy, and it's going to be a little long. So either way, I'm still okay to get a little extra sleep. So I packed everything. I was ready to go in the morning, and I decided not to shower. Normally, I shower before I fly, always. But I'm like, I'm going to be home in 3 hours. I'm going to go home and go right to fucking bed. So I finally get everything packed. I use the restroom. I flush the toilet, brush my teeth, floss, whatever. Turn the lights off. Everything's packed. And all of a sudden, out of the bathroom, I hear like a low-pitched whine, like a tea kettle. And it just starts to increase in volume. And it's like, and it goes up louder and it won't stop. And I'm waiting for it to quit. I don't know what the fuck it is. I don't want to look. But it's happening, and I'm like, and it won't stop. It does not stop. And it's the toilet. I go into the bathroom and I look, and it's, for some reason, I flushed the toilet, and it was part of and it just got stuck making this crazy noise from the pipes. And I mean loud. Like, I bet you could hear it in the hallway through the closed door loud. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I jiggle the handle. I try to figure out what's going on. And then instead I flush it again. And when I flushed it, the noise went away. So I'm like, thank God. So I go over and I go to sleep. It starts again. And I close the bathroom door. I'm like, I just got to get 2 hours of fucking sleep. That's all I need. And I can get the fuck out of here. Close the door. It doesn't matter. I can still hear it. It sounds like the worst alarm clock you've ever fucking heard in your fucking life. It was awful. It sounded like someone was strangling Alvin from the Chipmunks. Just that horrible high. And so I called the front desk, and she answers the phone. She goes, hello, Courtyard. And I said, hey, Keela. I said, this is the weirdest thing I've ever called anybody about. I have a whistling toilet in 222. And she goes, is that what that noise is? And I go, you can hear it? She can hear it down at the front desk. I go, you can hear it? I knew you could fucking hear it. That's how loud it is. You can hear it down at the front desk? And she goes, no, sir, I can hear it through the phone. I'm like, all right, fine, smart ass. And she goes, well, what's going on? And I go, I don't know. It's just making a noise. She goes, well, we have no maintenance crew here. She goes, I don't know what we can do for you. And I go, well, when I flush it, it goes away. She goes, well, flush it. And I go, no, and then it comes back. She goes, I'm very sorry. We don't have any maintenance here. There's nothing I can help you with. And she goes, we have a janitor, but he doesn't fix things. And I said, okay. And I had seen him. I should tell you, I should have said this. I bumped him in the hallway. He was mopping the elevator. And he does not speak English at all, like none. And also I should have known, because it was, like I said, it was 3:30 in the morning. He's mopping the elevator, and his 2 kids were there with him. So I knew he wasn't going to know any English. So I didn't want him in my room. The last thing I need to do is start doing sign language, explaining the whistling toilet. And I said, all right, I'll try to power through it. I hung up and I tried to sleep through it. And I did. I was so fucking beat and wiped out that I just slept through the whistling toilet, which actually sounds like a Hardy Boys mystery. You know what I mean? I'm waiting for them to show up and fix everything. The Hardy Boys in the case of the whistling toilet. Or maybe Encyclopedia Brown. He could have been on the case. Or maybe, you know what? Black Sherlock Holmes should have been on the case. I should have put on my funky trench coat and grabbed the funkiest goddamn magnifying glass you've ever seen in your life. And me and Encyclopedia. You know what? Actually, that's the best. That's the name of the Black Sherlock Holmes. Encyclopedia Brown. That's the perfect name for the Black Sherlock Holmes. Fuck you, Bugs Meany. You're going down. So I slept through it. I powered through it, and I woke up at 6. And like I said, it was a 15-minute ride to the airport. So I'm like, all right, I'm fine. I get up and I throw water on my face. I get dressed, and I'm not going to shower. I'm just going to roll. And Keela's still at the front desk, and I looked like hell anyway. And I check out, and she's like, did that noise ever go away? And I go, it's still going right now. You can actually hear it upstairs. She goes, I thought I heard it when you opened your door. I go, yep. It whistled all through the fucking night. It only changed when I flushed the toilet again in the morning. And I'm doing a lot of talking right to you. That's so odd to me. I don't know why. It's weird. Usually I just I do the show and I talk into the microphone, but I've been making a lot of eye contact with Lily like the last couple of weeks. I don't know why, because we're really close proximity. When I used to have the headset on, I could turn my head and look wherever I wanted, but now the microphone is kind of set up in a place where I have to look at Lily. It's odd. And I feel uncomfortable for her because I'm staring a fucking hole through her head as I tell the goddamn story. So I walk downstairs and I check out, yes, you're saying, yeah, cover up by all means. Yeah, you care about nudity. So I go downstairs, I check out, and I explain that the fucking toilet is still whistling. I go and I get in my car and I drive. And Avis has a rule where you've got to gas up your car. If you don't gas up your car, if you go under 75 miles and you don't gas up your car and you don't prepay for gas, they charge you $13.99 a gallon. And they warned me. They said that will happen. So you need to show your gas receipt when you drop the rental car off. So I said, all right, I can deal with that. So I'm driving, and I go to get on I've got my instructions at the airport. I'm driving, and I'm on the freeway, the 135 or whatever, and I've got to get to one particular exit which goes to the airport. So as I'm getting to it, it says freeway closed up ahead, detour. And I'm like, oh, Christ. So I pull off, and I figured there's a bunch of signs for the detour, and there were, but the freeway was closed for miles. And so I was making the transfer onto the 71 from the 135, but it had these signs for the 135, and it would say 71, but it wouldn't say east or west. So I'm driving, and I'm going down the detours, and I'm following everybody thinking they're all going to the same place. And then I made a wrong turn, and I mean, I'm starting to panic. Like, I'm starting to run out of time because I only left myself an hour and a half to get to the airport and go through security and stuff. So I start going in circles. And I wind up back by the same place where I was when the freeway was closed, because I made a bunch of left turns, right turns, left turns, and all of a sudden I'm right back where I was. And time is ticking away, and you're watching the digital clock move, and I'm going, oh, fuck, this is bad. This is real bad. I can't miss a flight out of here. And I start driving again, and then I finally see a gas station. I pull up, and I go to get gas, and all the pumps are locked. And the guy's inside, he's got the mini mart open, but he just waves like, nope, no gas. So I pull out of there, and I got to fucking get back into this traffic, and I turn right, left, and I'm not making any progress. I keep seeing the freeway. It's closed. I don't know if there's been a chemical spill or a fucking terrorist attack. There's huge cranes, but I can't see any construction. And I keep driving, and finally I find another gas station. I pull up there, and I get gas, which was only $11. So it was, which could have been $9,000. I drive, and I come to a turn, and it says 71 right, and 135 left, but I can't. 135 is closed. I don't want to be on that, but I want the 71. And then I look beyond it. And it says 71, and it has another left. So I took a left. I gambled. I go, fuck it, just go this way, and I did. And I saw all of a sudden exactly the signs that I needed to get to the airport. It was like the key that opened all locks. That one particular, because it was weird. I don't know why the arrows weren't prominent. It was underneath, but I went and I started to fucking hustle. I got to the airport. My flight again was at 7:50, and I got to the airport at 7:00. And I go in and I drop the thing off at Avis, and I got to show them the gas receipt, and they got to click everything out. And luckily, again, not a big airport, so all I got to do is cross a bridge, and I'm right there in the airport. And I look at the TSA line. There's got to be 150 people in the TSA line. And I look, and there's one guy. And I should tell you this, again, everything broke fucking bad for me. I printed out my boarding pass the night before, but it came out faint. There wasn't a lot of ink in the business center printer. So I was like, well, that's okay. I'll just use my mobile boarding pass when I get there, but I've never used the mobile boarding pass, so I don't know how it's going to work. So I get in the line, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. And time's just ticking, and they got one guy, and there's a family in front of me, and their flight is also, it's going to New York. It's but it's also 7:55. And they're going, should we just tell them that we're waiting in line? This is crazy. And I go, why is there one guy working? He goes, I don't know. He goes, this is amazing to me. And I sweated it out. By the time I got to the front TSA, I'm trying to pull up my phone. I'm trying to pull up the mobile boarding pass, and I did, but then it disappeared because I put it on pause. Like you have to load it and keep it, because otherwise you lose it. And there's an old man. I figure he's not going to know what mobile boarding pass is anyway. He's going to think I'm a terrorist when I shove a phone in his face like it's a detonator. And I finally get up to security. It's 7:25. And I'm 25 minutes in the security line, and I give him the faintly printed one, and he's able to use that and mark it. I take my shoes off. I blaze through the fucking thing. I throw my shoes on, and I'm hustling to the plane. And I hear last call for my flight to board. And again, not a big airport, so I'm fine. So I'm hustling. I'm running there, and all of a sudden I stop, The gate is within view. I can see it, but directly across from the gate is Salt Lick Barbecue. I was going to eat them right when I arrived in town, but I couldn't make myself. But I go, you know what? I can see the gate. The plane's not fucking going anywhere. It's 7:35. Plane leaves in 15 minutes. Fuck it. I'm doing it. I ordered some fucking tacos, breakfast tacos. I got a brisket, egg, and potato taco on flour tortilla. And then I was going to get a bacon, egg, and taco. And I looked, and they had fucking giant sausages. Like, they pulled them out of the fire. And I go, dude, I want that fucking sausage. I don't give a fuck what flavor it is. And so I got 2 big fucking tacos, and they bagged them up. And I should tell you this. If you know anything about me, you know I hate the guy who brings food on the fucking plane. I hate him. Because he opens up his fucking McGriddle and the whole plane smells like McGriddle the entire time, and he didn't bring enough for everybody, and he fucking grosses people out. But I was so fucking hungry, and I was late, and I was pissed, and I didn't fucking care. I was supposed to eat there anyway. Hey, I had plenty of time. It wasn't for the fucking city of Austin. Blame them, motherfuckers. If you got to smell my brisket taco and not get any, and if you want some, I'll pass it around. Go ahead and have a fucking bite. But I walk in and I've got my tacos and I knew when I checked in there was nobody next to me. It was awesome. So I go and I get to my fucking row and there's nobody there. There's one guy on the aisle, and I sit in the window seat. This kid Diego's there. He's going to E3, and we talk a little bit. I mentioned I did Saints Row, and we touch base on that. And I take my tacos. I go, look, I bought tacos. It's going to be gross. I'm apologizing right now, but I'm going to eat them, and it's going to stink up this whole plane. He goes, I don't care. Do what you got to do. So I put them in the thing, and they go, flight attendants prepare for takeoff. I get to sprawl out and eat my tacos, and bing, the seatbelt sign goes on, and they start, rushing up and closing all the tops. Everything's loaded in, and finally the pilot gets back on the thing and he goes, flight attendants hold. And I'm like, oh, what does flight attendants hold mean? And they open the door and 8 people get on the plane.
What?
Like a Korean family. It was a mom and a dad and their 3 kids. And behind them, 3 teenage Hispanic people, like I would say like 25-year-olds, and the 2 guys are buff, and they're with their girlfriend, and they come or with a friend of theirs, and they come walking down the aisle, and then the 4th one gets in, so it's 9 people. There was 2 guys and 2 girls, and then the Korean family, and they just start taking empty seats, like they just plugged them in. The Korean family's like separate, like the parents sit with the baby, and then their 4-year-old has to sit by himself, like in a row, and they do all that stuff, and I look at Diego. I go, we're getting the eye, Diego. This is not good. We are getting the eye. And they broke up the Hispanic 4 people. Like, they started walking toward the back of the plane, and the biggest guy stops. He's wearing a fucking tap out, like a big fucking Affliction douchebag T-shirt. He's muscles. And he goes, hey, I'm in there. He's going to sit next to me. Oh. And there's other empty seats. But he is sitting, and I'm like, oh, no. And he sits down. And I had the armrest up because I'm fat, and he sits down. And even with the armrest up, we're smashed into one another. And he goes, and it was funny. Diego goes, you can put that armrest up, and he goes, it is up. And we're both just sitting there. And I now I have no room for tacos. I have no room for sprawling. And then Roger Huerta gets on the plane. He's a UFC fighter. He used to fight in UFC, then he went to Bellator, whatever. But we met him when I was at the Brazilian restaurant with you. Remember I got up, that little guy with all the tattoos, real good looking? Yeah, he gets on the plane. And they said to him, you want to sit in the exit row? And he went and sat in the exit row. I'm like, fuck. Why don't you sit fucking the Aztec King who just sat next to me in the goddamn exit row? But he sits next to me, and the tacos just sat there in my pouch, and I couldn't even bear to bring them out because I had no elbow room to eat fucking tacos. And I finally turned my back and I pulled one taco up before we took off, and I just tried to wolf as much as I could. And it was greasy, and I forgot to get napkins because I was running late, and I just jammed it into the fucking pouch. And it leaked all over my ESPN, the magazine. I didn't get to eat the fucking tacos, disappointed. And he and I just fucking leaned on each other while we were sleeping. It was awful. I kept waking up and he'd be leaning on me or I'd be leaning on him. And then finally I woke up in the middle of the flight and he's gone. And he never came back. And it turned out that he went and found his girlfriend, and he sat next to her because she had an empty seat next to her. I'm like, why didn't you walk to the back of the plane the first time? You would have seen that from the jump. But it was just awesome to be, like I said, an entertainer who went out and I worked. I did a show there, and then I did a show in Austin. I flew. It was great to be on the plane. I felt important. And then I came home and I had a show Saturday night. First I crashed. I went in and I slept on Saturday, woke up for my show Saturday night at Meltdown Comics. It was the Battleship Retention live podcast show. I don't know if they're going to put my set online. I have no idea. But they'll probably put the show on. And I was there with Susan Burke and Kyle Kinane, who was extremely funny. It was good to see Kyle. I haven't seen him in fucking forever. And I fucking killed. Again, I showed up. It was great to get up and take a shower and have a point. You know what I mean? And be able to go out and do a fucking show. And a show where people laughed their asses off, and I got to do what I wanted. I talked in circles. I went all over the place and did what I wanted. And they followed along with me. That was the best part, is they let me be silly and be funny, and they were picking up on it, because I had actually prepared jokes. I was all nervous about bringing movie jokes and stuff like that, but instead I just talked off the top of my head about Thor and whatever the fuck and The Hangover, and they went with me, and then I did the podcast appearance, and actually Tyler had me tell a story from this show. He had me tell the Glory Hole story, one of them. And so I told that on, I don't know if they're going to air that on the podcast. They might cut it out. I have no idea. But it was great, and everybody laughed their asses off, and then I bailed, and I got in the car and I drove home, and I had to go to work that night and sit there at the desk. But I didn't fucking care. I didn't mind, because if I can balance that out with doing what I'm supposed to be doing, then I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. You know, most of the time when I'm just fucking dreary and sitting in sweatpants in that fucking office and going, God damn it, why am I doing this? I'm not a hose monkey. Why do I dump the water? And why do I have to fucking check a light bulb? And why do I got to repair a clamp? I don't know what the fuck that even means. Or I got to walk somebody to their car. Like, I don't mind that so much, but I got to walk the perimeter and make sure nobody's breaking in, and there's a possum, and I fucking can't stand that job. And I whined about it last week. I recognize that. And I talked about it, and I talked about how I got to make a change, and I got to do that. And you know what? That's why I really needed last weekend to be as great as it was, because it spun me off of Wednesday, where I was really down and really fucking thinking about how I had failed, and I can't believe that I've settled and I'm stuck in this place. But then the weekend made me realize I'm not stuck in that place, and I have made advancements, and I have made things happen, and you guys have helped me make those advancements, and you guys have really been there and made me realize that there is an audience for what I do, and it makes me so happy, and I'm so thrilled. I did that open mic night and didn't fucking care, because I was great, even though fucking eardrums burst out. And I did Meltdown Comics. I showed up, and Kyle Kinane is a guy who's had his own Comedy Central Presents special, and Josh Fadem was there. He's been on 30 Rock. Funny people, and they saw me and laughed. And that does more for your confidence than anything else. You know, you realize that funny people think that you're funny. I enjoy you people, and I love you people, and I'm glad that you support me and all that kind of stuff. But to have your peers also see you and remember that you're funny, or think that you're funny and say it, God damn it, it changes everything. It makes you realize that, you know what, you're not making a mistake. And it makes you realize that what you're doing is the right thing, and you are funny, and you can make it work. And sandwiched between all that was the best of all, was Austin. Granted, The Late Show was a whiff, but that was on me. I kind of retreated. I probably could have grabbed them and made them listen to what I wanted, but after 2.5 hours of entertaining people who really wanted to be entertained by me and liked what I did, I didn't have the stomach for trying to make hipsters drinking six-packs realize that I'm funny. And it's my fault, to my detriment. I should have gone ahead and done that, because I think I left Austin on a sour note. But wait a minute, fuck that. I didn't leave Austin on a fucking sour note. Absolutely, I did not. Just because I had one fucking shitty show in front of six-pack hipsters, fuck all that. Absolutely. I fucking destroyed for 2.5 hours in front of fucking people who love me and drove from miles around to fucking see me. Fucking Austin was a huge success. I fucking dominated. Fuck you, whistling toilet. That's how good I was. The toilet couldn't stop whistling at my performance. Who the fuck am I to think that I had a fucking sour note? Absolutely not. The sour note, it was a clear note. It was a crisp note. It was a whistling note that was in my fucking ears as I drove around looking for the goddamn airport and bought fucking tacos I couldn't get a chance to eat. God damn it, I fucking destroyed in Austin. I destroyed on fucking Thursday at a fucking open mic night. I destroyed on Saturday night at that fucking Meltdown Comic show. I wish I could go into it, but Jesus Christ, this show has been already fucking too long, hasn't it? I mean, you can throw whatever you want in my fucking face. You can come at me and you say, oh, you know what? It was fucking 95 degrees. Who cares? I fucking kicked its ass. You can say there was a fucking 2-lane highway and there's black guys sitting there having a chat while fucking animals were dying all around them. Who cares? I kicked your fucking town's ass. You can say it was Keely. You can say it was Kayla. You can say there was a whistling toilet that kept me up all fucking night and I couldn't get any goddamn sleep. Who cares? Austin 6311 says, I just whipped your ass. And that's the bottom line, because Michael Glenn Schmidt said so. You guys can get me at MikeandMikeSchmidtComedy.com. You guys can be my friend at Facebook.com/the40-year-old-boy. You can follow me at Twitter.com/the40-year-old-boy. You can follow our friend Lily Von Stupp at Twitter.com/Lily Von Stupp. You can follow her at Twitter.com/MNTs. And if you want to write her a personal note and check in with just how many times I had to stop down and go, hold on a second, and find out exactly what we chatted about for 45 minutes in the middle of this fucking show that makes sure I don't leave her house until it's dark, you can write her a note at Lily at burlesque411.com. That's Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com.
Hey, all you fans of the 40-year-old boy. Mike's got new stuff to sell you. Stuff he hopes you'll enjoy. Just what's for sale Zazzle.com, 40-year-old boy. Zazzle.com, 40-year-old boy. ZAZZLE.com. He's your business, you. What kind of stuff's for sale? We already told you we don't know. 'Cause Mike made us record this song way back in February, so we can only speculate just what Mike will try to sell you. Maybe his face on a tambourine, or his own line of gardening equipment. Zazzle.com, 40-year-old boy. Zazzle.com, 40-year-old boy. Zazzle.com, 40-year-old boy. ZAZZLE.com. Maybe his own line of high chairs. ZAZZLE.com. His face on your personal massager.
Want to remind you folks about the Monday Night Teas every Monday night at the 3 clubs on Santa Monica and Vine, 10 o'clock p.m. on Monday nights. Produced by a friend of mine named Lily Von Stupp. Hey, Lily.
Hey, what?
Do me a favor. This is going to be weird. Lean in. No, because people this weekend told me in Austin, they were like, because remember we used to do it where I would lean close and we could talk and you could hear you. Why are you saying no?
I don't like that.
What do you mean you don't like the microphone? People want to hear what you're saying.
You're going to touch me inappropriately.
Again? There is no way to touch you inappropriately. All right, so lean in here because people said they can't hear you when you plug the show.
Yes, Michael.
Okay, is that good? Does that work?
I don't know.
I don't know either. So Lily Von Stupp produces the Monday Night Teas, which is the most successful and long-running burlesque show in California. I don't know, Los Angeles. I have no idea. But Lily, who's there this week?
We have the Horror Film Festival this week. So it will be a show based on horror movies. And Buster Balloon is hosting, and he'll be doing The Blob, which I'm very excited about. We have Evil Dead 2, Evil Altar 2. We have Angel Heart, which I'm really looking forward to, if you remember that little
Not really a horror movie, but there was a lot of blood.
It was a horror movie. It was about zombies and black magic. That's a horror film. You don't think that's a horror film? No. Fine, whatever. It's going to be hot, sexy with girls with blood all over.
Are you dancing?
I don't know.
Okay. All right, but you'll be there.
Pick up as Carrie, and I may or may not be doing the entire Carrie number.
Oh, good. Okay, that'll be exciting. So that'll be fine. And by the way, that's the last week we do this. Good. That was weird.
Really awful.
Well, because you know why? It worked better when I had the headset and we did the Joe Perry and Steve Tyler lean in. But now I got to hold that microphone, and then it looks just fucking ridiculous.
Awkward.
So that was strange. So all of you people who this weekend who said, "Hey, we should be able to hear Lily on the plugs," it didn't work. Tried it. I'm sure you heard that. Holy God, that was awful. Stabber. Yeah, so there you go. Monday Night Teas every Monday night. And if you want to go to burlesque411.com or burlesque MondayNightTeas.com. Go there and you will learn all that you need to know about the Monday Night Teas and all the upcoming shows, theme shows that are on the horizon, all the dancers. I think there's bios for every dancer, and there's secret. If you know the secret word, you can see nude pictures of every dancer.
That is not true.
It's totally true. And or Lily will text you a nude picture of a dancer, and then Andrew Breitbart will show it on a radio show. You guys can. Oops, sorry, I'm trying to grab that microphone. That was strange. This show is almost finished. Guys, remember you can go to facebook.com/the40year-old-boy and be my friend on there. And also you can follow all of the Bring Mike Schmidt 2 pages. As I mentioned, I was just in Austin, Texas because of a page started by Steven. And it turned out Nick Ramirez volunteered at theater and everything worked out great. Well, he didn't volunteer it. He had one and I could rent it. And in your city, I can do the same thing. Right now, there's a Kansas City page. Bring Mike Schmidt to Kansas City. Bring Mike Schmidt to Cleveland. Bring Mike Schmidt to D.C. Bring Mike Schmidt to New York, Milwaukee, Chicago, Indianapolis, Minneapolis, Denver. There's plenty of pages alert and awake and ready for you to sign up and bring me to them. I will tell you this. New York has a venue. It does not have a date. I'm waiting to hear from David Williams, producer extraordinaire, as he finds out all the information that he possibly can. I think I might owe him an email. Because I'll tell you what, this weekend when I did Austin, I lost track of everybody. Twitters and emails tonight and tomorrow are going to be very busy. So you can be my friend, like I said, at Facebook, but also if you want to bring me to your town, and don't make a page. All the pages that are made are made, and I'm going to get a centrally located page. I got to talk to Adam about that. I mentioned all that last week, but it's been a whirlwind week, folks, as you've heard. I'm whistling toilets and cock shots flying through the cyberspace. So you can sign up for these pages, but remember that tickets are on sale now at brownpapertickets.com for my appearance in Seattle, July 8th at the Rendezvous Theater. Go ahead and check that out. That'll be fantastic. I'm excited to come there and have a good time. And Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, July 29th. That'll be at Plays and Players Theater. Tickets are also available on brownpapertickets.com. Search Mike Schmidt. Search Success is Not an Option. Search something like that, and you will find me there, and you can go ahead and buy tickets. And let's avoid an Austin situation. How about if I throw that in your lap, folks? Because right now I think there's like 40 people there's certainly over 40 people on the New York page, but on the Philadelphia page, there's I think there's 35 or something. I don't remember. But, I haven't sold 35 tickets yet. So if you are coming to the show, it would be really great if you would buy tickets, so then the theater could then realize that people were coming and realize that it was not a bad thing to rent me a theater. And I would have some peace of mind as those dates are approaching. Again, I know it's a month out from Seattle and almost a month and a half for Philadelphia. Almost 2 months for Philadelphia. But get your tickets now. That would really make me, not have to fucking play that game where a week out and go, I don't know if I can go. It's stupid. Austin turned out great. It looked weak, and then for 2 weeks, everybody avalanched tickets, and we sold the place out. So I would love for you guys to come to the Rendezvous in Seattle, and love for you to come to Plays and Players on the third floor in Philadelphia on the 29th. That would be fantastic. So buy your tickets now to let me know that this is going to happen. I would appreciate it very much. You can go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com and go to the Joe Business page, link through to the Zazzle store. The T-shirts are now off the Zazzle store. I will tell you that. I'm thinking I'm taking them down tonight. They should probably be gone by the time you get this message. But there's stuff working on the horizon regarding that. But there are still, of course, mouse pads and mugs still available over there at Zazzle.com. You can click through to the tweakedaudio.com/40 earbuds page and go ahead and pick up some earbuds there. That'll work out. Remember, every podcast you've ever listened to gets a cut of that if you buy them from tweakedaudio.com/40. Also, remember there's the download sets available. There's year 1, year 2, and year 3 available separately of the Mike Schmidt 40-Year-Old Boy podcast, but you can buy them together in the Lord of the Schmidt set, which is the Fellowship of the Schmidt, the Two Schmitties, and the Return of the Schmidt. So go ahead and pick up the set of 3. That'd be fantastic. Thank you to everybody who has done that already. And if you just want to donate to the show, in the upper left-hand corner of every page of MikeSchmidtComedy.com, you can click on the little Schmitty that's got his pocket out, and you will get a light box that gives you an option. You can give a one-time donation to the show, or you can donate monthly, a $2 monthly donation, a $5 monthly donation, or a $10 monthly donation. And also remember, if you do make a donation and you want me to say your full name on the show, write me a note, and I will say your name like I'm saying these people's names as soon as I bring them up. As I reach down here, hold on. I should have had this list in my hand. Here we go. Make a donation to the show like Michael H. This was Michael H's second donation. Thank you so much, Michael H., for stepping up. Andrew B. Andrew B. made a donation, and I do appreciate that very much. Anthony D. This was Anthony, and by the way, his friends call him Sonny. Because he's got the stuff kids like. Anthony D., friends. Anthony Sonny D. This was his second donation. And Erica E., who I've actually met. One of the last times I was at Meltdown, Erica E. came and gave me a gift, an Oz, like a tin mug from Oz.
Oh, damn, that's great.
And she's like, you can keep your pens in that. And I go, I don't want this reminder of sodomy on my desk, but thank you. So Michael H., Andrew B., Anthony Sonny D., and Erica E., thank you so much for donating to the show. I do appreciate it. And again, like I said, if you donate to the show and you want me to say your name, your full name, make sure you tell me. Otherwise, I will. It's like an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. I will keep it down to one initial unless you tell me that you don't mind that I share with the world that you listen to this show and you gave money to it. That's fine. Remember that I'm coming to your town, like I said, in those towns. I also have a show coming up in Los Angeles, June 23rd. At the M Bar. It's a Thursday night at the Sweet Sweet Stand-Up Show. My friend Tom Hensley went ahead and booked me for that. Come and see me. I know Greg Behrendt is going to be there. That's the important thing. Greg Behrendt is extremely funny, so come out and check out Greg Behrendt from the Walking the Room podcast. He and Dave Anthony, both hysterical. And but I don't know if Dave's doing stand-up that week, but I know for sure that Greg Behrendt will be there along with me. and I'm sure many other funny people. And also, I'll tell you what, if you want to go to Sweet Sweet Stand Up tomorrow night and see Paul Goebel, go see Paul, because he'll be there and I'm going to be with him. He doesn't know that yet, because I was going to call him and go, hey, you want me to come and hang out with you? And I'll be doing that on the way home from this podcast. So get ready to be bothered, Paul, although you probably heard this or you're way behind it. You don't even listen to me now at this point anyway. It doesn't matter. So that's fine. Also, remind you that I was on Jackie Cation's Dork Forest about 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago. That's still available in iTunes. And also, I did the Battleship Retention Live podcast, which I've alluded to. I don't know when that goes up, and I don't know how much of my set or whatever they're going to put up is going to be up, but you can go and hear me be funny on the panel with them. And I don't know if they'll keep that story in, but you've heard it before, so why do you want to hear it again? Who knows? That's why people keep going to my live show. They want to hear stories again, don't they? I don't know. I have no idea. So that's Battleship Retention Podcast with David and Tyler, and also Jackie Cation's Dork Forest. And I also recorded 2 other podcasts this week, but I don't know when they're going up, so I'll wait to tell you. I already told you in Austin I did the CB Radio podcast. I don't know when he's going to put that up, and then I did another podcast that I'll plug when the time is appropriate, because I've already done way too many plugs as it is. And now I'm going to go home and patiently wait for Friday when I can watch Super 8, because I am very excited to see Super 8. You make a squishy face like you do not like Super 8 or you do not know of Super 8.
I know of it.
I'm very excited to see Super 8. That is the movie this summer that I really wanted to see. I don't care about Green Lantern. I don't care about Pirates, although I liked it. Super 8 is the movie, because I read this article. They said Super 8 is not tracking very well among moviegoers that they've talked about and talked to. And they said the reason is because people haven't seen the monster in the trailers or in the commercials, so they don't know if they're going to like it. Hey, Steven Spielberg produced this fucking movie. I think he's got a pretty decent track record. We can go ahead and trust Steven Spielberg. And J.J. Abrams wrote and directed this movie. I think J.J. Abrams and Steven Spielberg know better than you fuck. And they were saying that because I always bitch the trailers show too much. Everybody says trailers show too much. These people are saying, oh, yeah, the trailers didn't show enough, so I don't know if I want to see. What the fuck do you need to see? It's a summer movie where a monster gets off of a train and terrorizes a town, and a bunch of kids run around trying to solve it. That's fucking awesome. Why wouldn't you see that? I mean, I guess, look, we all saw AI, okay, which was Steven Spielberg's movie. And I maintain that AI for, let's say I don't even know how long it is, but say it's 118 minutes. For 110 minutes, AI is fucking brilliant. It is a brilliant movie. And then, for some reason, Steven Spielberg decided to jam 8 minutes of suck at the end of it. I don't know why. That movie has what could be one of the greatest endings, in my opinion, for a science fiction movie in cinema history. And then they tack on this weird epilogue with aliens. I don't fucking get it. So maybe that's why you don't trust Steven Spielberg. But you got to trust J.J. Abrams, right? Why wouldn't you trust him? Fuck that. This movie's going to be awesome. This is the movie I've waited to see the entire summer. And you need things spelled out for you, and you need them to be in your lap so you can go. Why? So when you go to the movie, you can sit there and text like a motherfucker and not fucking pay attention, you dick? Did you see that in Austin? I was so happy when I saw that. In Austin, Texas, at the Alamo Draft House, some woman was texting and they threw her out, and then she called and left a voicemail, and they were like, yeah, that's a mean voicemail. We're going to make it a trailer to warn people not to text in our theater. Fuck you. Get lost. I'm tired of these people who text and think that anything that they do is okay. Just because you paid to get in doesn't make it okay, because guess what? Look around, motherfucker. Everybody paid to get in. And this is a prevailing theme of me and my show, and I understand I've talked about it a million times, and I've always gotten into fistfights in fucking theaters, but I'm astonished. And again, I'm an old man. I'm an old man who's 40. I am just stupid enough
to think that when people listen to me and they listen to the show, they should take my honesty and go, oh, wow, how refreshing his unvarnished honesty is. And the fact that he's willing to have a scorched earth policy and have no friends or no fucking future is so refreshing and great. But then they'll say to me, hey, do you need somebody raped with a snake? I go, yes, I do. Done. They'll take care of it for me. Thanks, Snake Rape. Oh, no one listens to show, bro? Wonder why? Wonder why no one listens to show, bro? I don't want to listen to show, bro. Please. Snake Rape, do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it!